Good morning, Raptor freaks. Good morning, Tempo freaks. It's Alexios. It's Tuesday morning, and we had the WNBA draft last night, and the Tempo took their first selections in the WNBA entry draft 2026, and we're gonna do trivia today too. So we've got a very Tempo centric stream today. Well, we'll talk about some Raptor stuff if you guys want to an extent. But there's way more to talk about with the Tempo currently today. So I've got my Tempo hat on. I got my Tempo hoodie on. And we're going to talk some Tempo because the draft was yesterday and they drafted 4 players. Yeah, let me start out with the straight goods on Canadian goods. And my straight goods on Canadian goods is Kia Nurse. Kia Nurse was announced late last night as a signee to the Toronto Tempo. Is probably around like 11:30, almost midnight, when they announced that Kia had signed with the Tempo, and this was inevitable. I knew this was gonna happen. I said this like a month ago that Kia Nurse is in a commercial up here in Canada where she's wearing the Bordeaux purple wine color of the Tempo in the commercial. And I'm like, well, that's convenient that she's wearing that color in a commercial already, running around on TV. And well, it just makes sense. I had pinpointed that, she would want to do this. The Tempo would want to do this, that it would be realistic monetarily. It would be realistic for all parties, and all parties would be willing. Bridget Carleton gets snatched by Portland Fire at the expansion draft right away. And well, for advertising sake, for just the sake of, tying in things and having so many international countries represented on the Toronto Tempo, it would be weird if they didn't have a Canadian player on the team, right? And well, Kia was the one that lined up and made the most sense. I mean, she's doing TSN broadcasts. She's busy on the TV with Leo and Kate Burness. And well, let's keep it all simple. And Kia, you don't have to get on a plane from Pearson to go to your WNBA destination from work now. You can just go to Coca-Cola Coliseum and TMU to have practice with Sandy Brondello. Yeah, straight goods on Canadian goods. Kia Nurse, Canadian, Toronto Tempo, Canadian WNBA team. Yeah, it's official. Last night, she signed. She signed. We knew it. Superfan Mo and I were saying this for weeks. Kia Nurse is going to be a Tempo. We know she's going to be a Tempo. Well, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It'll be history. The first ever Canadian player for the Canadian WNBA team is Kia Nurse. Straight goods on Canadian goods. That's right. That's right. Get your basketball from the Canadian WNBA team from the Canadian player, Kia Nurse. I think it's awesome. I think it's so awesome. Yeah, she has such an athletic family. And I like to remind people that she's actually related to Donovan McNabb. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback from back in the day. He's like her cousin or something like that. Yeah, we got to go over the draft picks that they picked last night. And well, we have a trivia today, guys. So we're going to do trivia in just a little while. Commissioner of Trivia, Adriana, is going to be here to help judge the game. Yeah, she didn't hear the questions, though. So she's going to be hearing them when you guys hear them. All right, Trevor J., Commissioner of Fun, has his words of wisdom. Let's see what he's saying here. Happiness is a choice, not a result. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to be happy. No person will make you happy unless you decide to be happy. Your happiness will not come to you. It only comes from you. Yes, 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 and yes. There's two kind of things in this world. There's happiness and suffering, right? And both of them come from different places. Suffering comes from, well, actually, they kind of both come from the same place. It's really perception. It's really your mind. And, happiness is all derived internally from you. It's how you look at things. If you want to find happiness in something as simple as a little baby smile, or happiness in a leaf falling from a tree, or happiness from a flower growing, you can find that happiness. You just have to derive it for yourself. If you depend on other people or things or material things in your life for happiness, well, that's shallow happiness, and that's not true happiness, because you're deriving it from something else, because you got to get it from inside. You got to get it from inside. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So, yeah, these are true words of wisdom. That's right. Happiness is a commodity that you manufacture yourself. There you go. Thank you, Trevor. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah, Trevor J has brought up that the Toronto Tempo made their first selection in an entry draft last night at the 6th pick. And the name written out and said by Kathy Engelbert was Kiki Rice. Kiki Rice of UCLA, number 6 in the draft for the Tempo, just won a national championship. It's very interesting to see the UCLA Bruins get drafted so much. Their very happy coach was sitting in the draft room, and, well, they had 3 in a row, and Kiki was the 3rd one in a row with Lauren Betts and Jaime Vasquez Jr.'s sister getting in there, and then Rice, Kiki Rice. Yeah, Kiki is a culture setter, as they've described her. In some ways, she's the wind beneath the wings of the UCLA team to keep people together on task and keep them all organized and have the culture that the UCLA Bruins just enjoyed all the way to a national championship. That she is kind of the epicenter, that she's a leader. The thing I saw was a big guard, swing guard, who has all-round talent, who's a good scorer, has a shifty speed that she can change speeds. She can get around people. She's got a nice handle. She's got some good all-round game as far as she gets assists and rebounds, and she does defensive work, and she can score. So I like the selection. That some of the Raptor freaks are overjoyed about Kiki Rice because they called it. In fact, we have to circle back and give a victory lap for our man, the Beat the Machine, Stargate. Stargate, about a month or 2 months ago, said we're going to draft Kiki Rice. He said that we would. He boldly predicted this. And there was a reason why he knew. There's a reason why he knew. Yeah, I remember he said, Lex, go scout Kiki Rice. And I did. I went and looked at her, and I was like, she's all right. She seems like a pretty good player. You know, I don't know what they're going to need because the expansion draft and what needs on the roster and positional needs or whatever. But, you know, they're going to draft who they're going to draft. And I'm going to trust Monica Wright-Rogers, Sandy, and Teresa and Eli because they know better than me. So I saw Kiki Rice. And I was like, well, this is a talented player. Thumbs up from Lex, I believe, is what I said when we watched Kiki. Well, Stargate knew that Kiki Rice was heavily on the interest list for the Tempo because he has a mole in the organization that let him be known that that's who they were looking at, and they had told Stargate months ago that if she was available at 6 still, they were going to take her. So Stargate, kudos to you for having the inside track and being correct and it coming out the way you said it would. So, yeah, get your victory lap, Stargate, when you watch this. Seriously, get your victory lap because you did call this and you did get me to scout her. And Kiki Rice is the first ever Toronto Tempo draft pick, like Damon Stoudemire. And, in fact, Damon did a message for her, a very cool video message from the first ever draft pick for the Toronto Raptors to the first ever draft pick of the Toronto Tempo. Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, saying, welcome, and you're going to enjoy this, and this is going to be amazing. And you know what? I hope she does listen to Damon. Damon handled the situation so well a long time ago out of Arizona that, you know, she should try and handle things like Damon. Maybe not get freaked out if you're the person that brought you in gets taken out and you want to leave all of a sudden. You don't want to do that. Damon does regret that. But embracing the country, the city, and the idea of the newness, the freshness, and being a pioneer and a new person in this jersey, that's something that Damon relishes to this day, and he feels very honored that he got that moniker to be the first ever Toronto Raptors draft pick and a Rookie of the Year. To that note, which Kiki Rice could hopefully follow in the footsteps of Stoudemire this year and possibly be the WNBA Rookie of the Year. That would be awesome. You know, sometimes expansion teams rely on their rookies and new players more and they get bigger opportunities, and they that bigger opportunity looks better, and the league considers it. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Kiki Rice, it's official. 5'11", very physical player, can shoot the ball. All right, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Tempo signed Kia Nurse. That's right. Trevor's saying this: the Dallas first pick will get half $1,000,000 for their salary this year. That's interesting. That would be Azzy Fudd, no relation to Elmer, I hope. But yeah, that's 2 years in a row. I find it interesting that this happens in the WNBA quite often, where the same team gets to pick number one 2 years in a row because they picked Paige Beckers last year, right? And this year they get Fudd, and it's the Dallas Wings getting to pick 2 years in a row. So in some ways, I'm like, what does that mean? Like that sounds like the problem the NBA has with like the same teams are bad, so they have to get 2 years in a row at number one. Like, what is that? I also think this is some sort of like extra payment for the Luka trade for the city of Dallas. That's no funny business that Cooper is number one, and then Page is number one, and then Fudd is number one, and compensation for a forced trade by Adam Silver of Luka Doncic to the Lakers. Here, Dallas, your city gets 3 number one picks in 2 years in a row. Trevor's saying this. Vince Carter called Kiki to congratulate her and tell her the good things about Toronto is a great city. Yeah. Who cares? Vince, I'd rather talk about Damon talking to her. Damon's a good standing Raptor in my book. Vince, okay, thanks, Vince, for filming that. I'm glad you took some time out of your day to do that. Thank you, Vince. Thank you. Why? In some ways, I'm like, why is Vince doing this? Seriously, he's not an ambassador for Toronto. Fuck that guy. Damon could do it because he's in the same position as Kiki. I don't understand why Vince is doing it. All right, fine, Vince, do it. Do it, Vince. Go ahead, make a video message for them. In some ways, I don't get it. Why don't we just get Chris Bosh to do one or Andrea Bargnani? Seriously. It's not like you're the ambassador or the person for the Raptors, the spokesperson here. Come on now. You want to be an ambassador for Toronto? Come on now, Vince. Come on, man. All right, let's keep going. Fiercey's here. Good morning to Fiercey. MJ, she's so happy. I'm sure she is. Good morning, fam, and happy post-draft day. Let's go, Kiki. Yeah. To cue the Drake jokes because, Kareem started them right away as soon as he saw the name Kiki, the Drake lyric. Yeah, that's just perfect for this, right? That's just perfect. The Drake motif with Kiki, the name Kiki in the song that he wrote. Yeah, that's just perfect, isn't it? It just lines up real perfect. Yeah, Fiercey was saying in the Discord that she likes Kiki Rice a lot because of her press conference. She's very well spoken. She seems like she's very, very mature and very grounded as a leader. The things that she was saying in her interview were actually really cool. Like she's saying, I'm ready to come in and work really hard. I want to learn from the vets, learn the WNBA, and I want to set, the tone. I want to be a strong leader for this city, this country, and this team. And she sounds very astute. She sounds very competitive. She sounds very worldly and understanding, and beyond her years, which I like. We want a young woman to come into the Toronto Tempo that's a competitor and has everything right with the mentality. And it seems like Kiki is poised and mature and has the right idea about what the assignment is here in Toronto with the Tempo. I think she's very excited to get to work with Sandy Brondello, a very, very esteemed coach, a champion coach. And she's going to be in good hands going from her college coach to Sandy Brondello in the WNBA. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity. All of her friends, there were 6 UCLA Bruins that were drafted in the first round of the WNBA draft last night. That's a record. So that's crazy. They're starting 5 plus their 6th woman off the bench were drafted in the first round, the first 15 picks last night. That's crazy. They must have been really good to win the championship like that because their top 6 got drafted. It's amazing. And Kiki was the 3rd one, and then 3 more after that. It's wild, man. That's a really good team, UCLA. And I guess it showed when they played South Carolina. Yeah, I guess it showed. Adriana's in the house. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Yes, Commissioner Trivia. Adriana, I have the questions here, and we will start this very soon. Looks like we got a good group in here. No more comments. Let me get to the end of the comments, and we'll start the trivia, guys. Jimmy's here. Good morning, Jimmy. Yes, he's doing it already here. This is it. Kiki, do you love me? Drake lyric. It was meant to be. Yeah, I'm sure, Drake's a part owner of this team, right? So the licensing to do this, I'm sure that, much like Scotty gets, it's your boy, or Brandon gets, no, notorious, or RJ gets running through the streets with my woes. Yeah, I'm sure she's going to get a little soundbite when she makes baskets. That's that little part for Drake. I mean, that would just make sense, right? That Coca-Cola Coliseum's in-game ops is going to have the Drake Kiki, Do You Love Me, playing over the loudspeaker whenever she makes a basket. Could you see this happening, Jimmy? I could see this. Stargate's laughing. He's taking his victory lap. That's right. Take your victory lap, Stargate. You deserve it. This is a prognostication channel, and sometimes you can have a little birdie on your shoulder that'll give you information. And, well, in some ways, this is something you got to do. You take your victory lap when your prognostication, your prediction is the one. And we got to give it to you today. This is your day to take that victory lap on that for sure, Stargate. Seriously. I'll give, every once in a while, us, maybe me, one of you guys, we do this and we get this right. And, well, we have to show the honoring of that. And that's what this is. Stargate got it. He got it. Kiki Rice, he nailed it. He nailed it like 2 months ago. And I'm proud of him for it. MJ saying this, Kiki's presser was very, very nice. She's eloquent, savvy, respectful of the organization, and enthusiastic. I'm really happy with her. Extremely talented as well. The thing that's interesting to me is, and I guess this makes sense, how many of these WNBA ladies, whether it's the expansion draft or the women from the draft last night, have never been to Toronto? Like, many of them say, "Well, I've never been to Toronto. I've never been there." I was like, man, some people, I guess they're just busy with their basketball and they just didn't have a tournament here or something like that. Or, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, y'all are in for a treat. Toronto's beautiful in the summer. And you guys, you're going to have a fantastic time playing for the Tempo. And all the love you're about to get. Oh, yeah. Kiki seems like I said, the UCLA leader, the culture setter. It's a very important player to that championship that just happened. Lauren Betts is 6'7", and she's the first pick off the board for UCLA. And I mean, come on, she's 6'7", and she's got a whole lot of things going for her. But Kiki, in some ways, is that leader, the leader of that national champion team. So that's interesting to me. I'm a little worried about the Tempo being a little guard heavy, with Sykes and Alamon and Kiki. We're going to have to figure this out with the distribution of jobs and who's going to be doing what and who's going to be what in the depth chart. Because I don't know. I don't want people to step on their toes. And, I guess in some ways you want to get the best talent available, or the best person available wherever you're at. And sometimes you'll have overlap on the same position. And I don't want this to be a problem for them in any kind of way where it causes internal strife just because there's positional battles and some people aren't happy with their slice of the pie. I would say, just before anything has even started with this, I'm a little worried about this just because of some of the positions and the people that they're getting so far for the Toronto Tempo. But overall, I like, the balance of the roster there's some good size. There's some good size involved in this. That's right. Yeah. All right. I shouldn't stop talking and get through these comments real fast. Yeah. Guess who? You gotta have to. That's gonna be the last one right there. All right. Because no more comments. Because I got to get through to get to the thing. Jimmy's saying my mom and sister are excited about the Tempo. We're definitely going to go see them. That's awesome, man. See, that's it. That's it. This is going to be really good for young women around the country. This is going to be very good for everybody. Honestly, it's going to be great for us too, men too, because it's just going to be fun. And it's going to be a new thing for us to root for, another area for us to find excellence and success and root for championships. And that's what I'm all about right there. That's right. Let's root for another championship for the city of Toronto through the WNBA team. That's right. Yeah, G's here. Great pick, Tempo. Hard worker, classy, articulate, genuine. There you go. I like that. Those are great monikers there by Monica, picking monikers for of a lady like Kiki Rice. That's right. These are good monikers. That's right. Why did I do that joke? That's dumb. Smooth saying this. Kia Nurse is a Tempo player. Is official? Yes, it's official as of last night, Reggie. Kia Nurse. I know some of y'all were very much wanting this to happen. It is official, and we knew it was going to be. We knew it was going to be. There's money in that salary cap, a little bit there for a journey woman guard named Kia Nurse from Ontario, from Hamilton. Yeah, there's some money there for a Canadian to be on the Tempo team, and well, it went through, and they came to terms, and it's official after the draft last night. Kia Nurse is a Tempo. She will be on the team. That's right. Fiercely saying Kiki's boyfriend, Kason Wallace, can enjoy summertime in Toronto while she plays. He seems very supportive. Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, whoa, that's Kason Wallace. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I found out a little later that they're together, Kiki Rice and Kason of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, he's going to be busy for a while right now. You know, OKC, #1 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. So that man's going to be busy. I was actually surprised he was at the draft for her, considering they should be getting ready for the playoffs. But I guess they've got time off like we do, because they're not going to play until Saturday or Sunday. And they don't even know who they're playing yet. So play-in tournament games happen tonight. And, well, it's Miami and Charlotte to start. And then I think it's the Warriors and the Clippers, the other game tonight. So, yeah, Jaime Vasquez Jr. could not be at the draft last night for his sister because the Heat are getting ready to play tonight against Charlotte. Yeah, Kason, you going to come to Toronto, hang out in the summertime, go to Carabana? Kason Wallace, let's go. Jimmy's saying, I'm sorry, I had to, Lex. You did it. You're fine. You're the first one who did it here. At least don't want to wear it out. And you got to do it. You were the lucky one that gets to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. Thank you guys for taking your messages away so we can get to the trivia. Guess who's saying, only thing I care about in the WNBA is Brittany Griner. I let her, oh my gosh. Well, hello. All them other girls just make my, okay. All right. This is a little dubious. Maybe we'll give you a timeout. You need to cool off. You need to cool off. This is not that kind of channel. There are other websites where you can talk to people like this, and they'll appreciate it more. Let's just put it that way. They'll appreciate it more. All right. We're going to give you a 30-minute timeout just to cool off. Just 30 minutes is fine. All right. Guess who? Guess who? I love that game. That's fun. I would ask questions like this. I'm like, do you have glasses on? Do you have a mustache? No? Okay. Flip. But guess who? Guess who? It's a pervert. That's who it is. Guess who? It's a pervert. Trevor's saying this. Kiki says she's been to Canada, but not Toronto. Her uncle's Canadian. Yeah, she did say that. Everybody says this. Oh, I've got an uncle who's Canadian. Oh, I've got an aunt who's Canadian. They always say they got a cousin or uncle who's Canadian. That's what Scott said too. Well, that's a good thing because, you know, it means they got some Canadian roots in their life. So, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. She's going to be fine. It's going to be great. UC's here. Good morning to UC. Good morning, Raptors gang. I'm going to Tempo game at Bell Center and potentially for Scotiabank Arena this season. Just thinking about it is making me excited. There you go. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm real excited. I got excited yesterday. I went to the grocery store. I was wearing my Tempo gear. I was rocking the Tempo representation, rocking it at the grocery store. That's right. I'm like, yeah, Tempo. Yeah, yeah. Nobody asked me. What is that? Nobody asked me though. But I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing the Tempo gear out and rocking it for Teresa Resch. That's right. That's what we're doing right there. Yeah, Stargate said I was kind of surprised Carson was there. Kason was there as well, but good for him supporting her. Of course, in some ways, you got to do that, right? You know how it is, Stargate. In some ways, you got to do that. Seriously, you got to be there. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah, Adriana wants that trivia. Okay, girl power. All right, let's do this. So, our trivia today is going to be based on the Toronto Tempo. Since we're very tempo centric, this is going to be the first ever Toronto Tempo Tuesday trivia. So be ready and let's go. All right, question number 1, guys. Who is the first? And full name answers, okay? I want full name answers as best as you can. I know this is a little bit new, so we're going to do as best as we can. Who's the first ever selection to the Toronto Tempo team? And don't go by last night. That's not what this question is about. The first ever selection. The first person we ever saw that was named, Fiercey knows, is Julie Alamon. That's right. Belgian Julie Alamon is the first ever selection by the Toronto Tempo in the expansion draft. And Adriana's got a good suggestion for you guys. Make sure you are on live. That's right. Make sure you're live. And that's a good suggestion. So Fiercey's first on the board is Julie. All right. Which one of the expansion Tempo players is from Nigeria? Which one of the expansion Tempo players is from Nigeria, is going to represent the country of Nigeria on our roster? We have a very international Tempo team. And who is representing the country of Nigeria? Yeah, let's see who you think. Aja Kane? Nope, that's not right. That is not right. It's interesting you put it all in one name, Aja and Kane. Yeah, that is not right. This is a player that got signed, I think, this weekend. Elizabeth Balogun. That is right. Slug Easy on the board. The King of the Classic card coming for trivia points today. I like it. I like it. Slug Easy gets the points. It's Liz Balogun. And I'm not sure. See, now with the draft last night and Kia Nurse, we've got almost 20 players at this point. So there's going to be training camp cuts. So we're going to have to see who survives the training camp to actually be a first-year Tempo player, because we are overloaded now. We've got about 20 players on paper that are involved in the training camp for the Tempo at this point. So there's going to be tough cuts made, and we'll speculate and talk about this in the next couple weeks before the season starts. All right, next question on Tuesday Trivia, expansion Tempo. That's right. This Tempo player is the high scorer in an unrivaled game. This Tempo player is the high scorer in an unrivaled game. Yeah, they scored the most points ever in an unrivaled competition game. And wow, that is why to go French like that? Is that how you spell her name in French? Okay, you fixed it. Yeah, Marina Mabry, of course, Cash Money Mabry is the record holder for most points scored in an unrivaled game. 47. That's right, Fiercey. That's right. Crash out, Queen. Yeah, we're ready to see you play. Let's go, Chef. Let's go, Mabry. Let's get it. Let's get it, Jersey girl. Let's go. All right, this is the next question. This young Australian is at training camp for the Tempo that was signed this weekend. Of course, last night, they got 2 more Australians in the draft, and we'll talk about them in a second. But yeah, this is none of the answers are from the draft last night, just so y'all know. So don't get it confused. This young Australian is going to be at training camp for the Tempo and was signed this weekend. Not Christy. Christy is an Australian also, but she's not young. Let's just put it that way. She's young, like in relative terms, but not in basketball terms. Christy Wallace is a vet. Madison Roki is the right question, is the right answer. Sorry, the right answer. Slug Deezy getting this one. So it's like Fiercey, then Slug Deezy. Fiercey, Slug Deezy. All right, that's right. There we go. We're working through this. I'm glad that we're knowing the names here. In some ways, I was a little worried. Lex, you're not doing Raptor Freak trivia. You're doing Tempo Freak trivia. Are we going to be ready for this switch? Well, we're doing all right. I like it. All right, 5th question. This young player is the Tempo's center project from the expansion draft. This young player is the Tempo's center project from the expansion draft. And, you know, I'll bet this player's not going to come over for this year. And I think that they just want their rights, because I don't think they're going to show up. There's all signs that this is a draft and stash for rights in the future. It's not Sabali. It's not Diarra Sabali. No. This is a young center, the youngest center on our roster, and it's not likely that this person's going to come over. Yeah, Aja Kane is right. That's it. Yeah, Fiercy, it's Aja. Aja is in France and plays internationally in France. And I've been monitoring her Instagram, and she has not acknowledged the draft to the tempo in a way that makes me think she's coming. So it's, yeah, Adriana has to go. What? I thought you had till noon. Well, you got to go now. What is going on with this? Anyway, you shouldn't even told me. Just take off. In some ways, I'm annoyed and distracted instead of like, okay, you should just have gone and just not been here. Why? Why you have to leave, Adriana? This is annoying. Is this because anyway? Anyway. All right, let's see. As in thought, let's see. Okay, this is another one. This is funny. At least you misspelled it to say my fave. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead. This is funny that you're doing this. You're putting a lot of work into this. So we're gonna hide you now because this. You're gonna make a bunch of different counts. Well, that's stupid. All right, you're wasting your time and your life. All right, let me go. It's probably an emergency. Who knows what it is? Honestly, I'm just annoyed. It's an ongoing thing going on with her and I right now. And anyway, I wish she just hadn't told me. Just step away and don't tell me because it's distracting my stream now. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. All right. This tempo player has led the WNBA in steals twice in the last few years. This tempo player has led the WNBA in steals twice. The whole league. Brittany Sykes. That's right, Fiercy. Slim is the answer there. Formerly of the Seattle Storm and coming to us through free agency and is going to be on the tempo for sure. So, yeah, we're excited about Brittany coming to play. All right, next question. And this is where one that Doug Smith has been getting wrong and what he's been trying to purport on Blue Skies. This is the first player who signed a contract with the tempo. This is the first player who signed a contract with the tempo. The first player, the very first player. And we figured it out. It was last Wednesday at like 1 o'clock. And there were people that signed contracts this weekend that Doug Smith thinks signed the first contracts. But no, they signed contracts with the tempo on Wednesday last week. And this is the first person who signed officially. This is what I think. I mean, this is what I saw in the newswire first and them announcing that this person had signed first. So we'll see. We'll see if you guys can guess. I kind of did bring it up. This player is American. Kitty Laxa. No, it's not Kitty. But that's a pretty good guess. It's the teammate from last year is the answer. So if you can figure it out from that, Lexi Held. That's right. Yeah, it was Lexi. I'm pretty sure Lexi signed her contract first out of everybody. It was like her and one of the other ones signed to get like right around 1 o'clock on Wednesday last week is what I heard. That's the way they broke the news. Marina Mabry didn't sign until Saturday. And there were like 5 of them that signed before her. So Doug Smith saying that Marina Mabry's the first big signing of the tempo is wrong. It's wrong. So we got to hold the truth, you know? All right, here we go. The tempo had this. Okay, this tempo player had their birthday on Sunday. This tempo player had their birthday on Sunday. Let's see who was paying attention to the birthdays and who I celebrated a birthday for on Sunday, the day of the Brooklyn game. This player had their birthday on Sunday, and they turned 32 on Sunday. So, yeah, if you guys can remember that. Kiki Rice? No, it's not Kiki. Kiki's not 32. Kiki is not 32. Who turned 32 that's on the tempo? Isabel Harrison. No, it wasn't Isabel. This person has won 3 championships with Fenerbahce in a row in Turkey League, Women's Turkey League in the last 3 years. And yeah, Christy Wallace. Nope, it's not right either. I went over this person's birthday on Sunday, if y'all were paying attention. And it's the first tempo birthday we kind of celebrated so far because it's the first one that's come by. And this person has things in common with Darko, I guess, is a good clue. It's a good clue there. But yeah, they just won the championship with Julie Alamon, like 2 weekends ago for Fenerbahce in Turkey. So yeah, Nina Milic is the right answer. Nicolina. Yeah, Fiercey's gonna clean up on this. I know she will, because in some ways this is her wheelhouse. She knows the WNBA better than most of us, and she's paying attention. This is good. All right, this tempo player is friends with the Gasols and the Hernan Gomez. We've talked about this also. This tempo player is friends with the Gasols, Pau and Mark, and the Hernan Gomez too. Fiercey's got it. It's Maria Conde. That's right. That's right. The Spanish phenom is coming over to play for us. She signed a contract. So some of these players have never appeared in the WNBA. They're coming for the first time. And Maria Conde is one of them. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph in the chat, guessing for the trivia. Make sure you're live. Randolph, please. All right, let's see. This tempo player is from Latvia. Which one of the tempo players is from Latvia? Yeah, which one's from Latvia? Yeah, we may have guessed some of these answers already. So circle back and try them now, and maybe you'll get it. Which tempo player is originally from Latvia? Laura Yuskati? No, Kitty Laxa is right. Fiercey got this one. You're close, UC. You're close. It was Kitty. Kitty's from Latvia. Kitty. Yep. Kitty Laxa. Yeah, they call her Kitty. All right, next question. This sharpshooting tempo won the WNBA championship last year. This sharpshooting tempo player won the WNBA championship last year. Yeah, Kitty Laxa is right on that question. You guys are a little late, though. Fiercey's first in there. But who won the championship last year that's on our team? Aaliyah Nye. That's exactly right, Fiercey. Aaliyah was at the Raptors game on Sunday in the crowd, which was pretty cool. She seems like she's excited about being on our team. She's been in Toronto this weekend, and she's been doing really, really well. Yeah, former Las Vegas ace and rookie last year, Aaliyah Nye. Yeah, she's going to be interesting for us. She's going to be I have good feelings about her and what she's going to do. Yeah, she'll get more minutes here. That's for sure. Yeah. This person's funny, man. This person's funny. All right, well, that's fine. Bombard me with new accounts. In some ways, you can keep coming, and I'll keep putting you out. This person really likes Brittany Griner, and that's great. I mean, I like her too, but not like the way you're liking her. All right, here we go. Here's the next question. This person was offered a restricted contract by the tempo this weekend, and we found out yesterday that the team that they're on matched it. So we're not going to get this person on our team. So that person is going to stay on the original team. So who is this name? The person that we made an offer to this weekend, but in the 48 hours, the team that they were on matched the number, and they're going to keep the player, and that player is not coming to Toronto Tempo. So what player was that? Yeah, we found out yesterday in the afternoon before the draft. Yes, Slug Deezy got it. It's Shakira Austin, which is too bad because she would be a very great pivot for us to have on our team as a center. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen because the Mystics value her, and they went ahead and paid the exact contract that we were offering. And it's a 3-year deal, and it's a pretty sizable deal. So we shot our shot to try and get her to come here, but the Mystics they're valuing her, and they're not letting her go. So Austin is not coming to the Tempo, unfortunately. Yeah, they matched our offer. They did. And I told y'all that could happen. And they did. They did match it. So no Austin for the Tempo, unfortunately. This will be in the history books too. The player that we tried to get, but we didn't. And that's just how it is. All right, next question. This former Tennessee Volunteer was signed as a free agent this weekend to the Toronto Tempo. This former Tennessee Volunteer played for Tennessee in her college days, has been signed as a free agent by the Toronto Tempo this weekend. Yeah, who is that? Yeah, who is that? This person was signed by the Tempo this weekend, and they used to play for Tennessee. Isabel Harrison. That's right. Slug Deezy got it. Yeah, Isabel Harrison, I believe, was on the Liberty. So she kind of knows Sandy already, right? She knows Sandy already. So Harrison, the forward, is the answer. Former volunteer. All right, let's keep going. We got 4 more questions and we'll be done. And I appreciate y'all working through them with me. It seems like it's the Fiercey and Slug Deezy show, but that's fine. In some ways, they're on it. Yeah, she was on the Liberty last year. Well, that means she knows Sandy then, and Sandy knows her. And that's a good, especially with how little time we have leading into the season. The prior relationships that are being used in the connections that we got are good. Sandy Brondello being a connected coach is important. It'd be really bad if we had a rookie coach in this situation right now. It'd be really, really bad. It's really important we got Sandy right now. All right, here we go. This Tempo player is from Lithuania. This Tempo player is from Lithuania. Yeah, we got Latvia. We got Lithuania. Yeah. Who's from Lithuania that's on the Toronto Tempo training camp roster? Who is it? Yeah, Laura Juicy. They call her Juicy, y'all. So we got this is the funny thing. All right, and this is a joke Adriana made the other day when she was here with me. We figured out that much like in the Raptors, we can have quick shed lineups, we can have battle dick lineups, we can have Mamu Yak lineups. Well, we could have Juicy Kitty lineups for the Tempo. I know that sounds bad, doesn't it? Phrasing. Maybe this is what this crazy person who keeps coming in here talking about Brittany Griner is talking about. But yeah, we have Juicy and we have Kitty on our teams. Yeah, anyway, maybe I shouldn't have made that joke. But it's like we have battle dick formation. We have quick shed formation. Yeah, terrible. I know it's terrible, but in some ways, it fits with this because we have a player named Juicy and a player named Kitty. Yeah, I know. This is maybe an area where I need to be careful as a male. Yeah, I don't need to be doing this stuff. Yeah, terrible. All right. You guys are right. Fiercey gets the points. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. All right, I got that out of the way. Now, if they use that as a phrase going down the road, is it a big deal? Maybe they won't both make the team. Will they ever be on the court together at the same time for that formation? I don't know. Yeah, I think I just lost all my viewers. That's okay. We've got our loyal, longtime ones, and some people may be coming in just to see what say, oh, did he just make that joke? This is a WNBA stream. I'm trying, y'all. Seriously, it's not going to be perfect right away. There's going to be a learning curve for Lex with dealing with this. And once again, I'm very open to be criticized and being told that you're wrong for that. And he's just told me terrible. So I got to remember that. That's terrible. All right, keeping it going. All right, I got that out of the way. I blame Adriana for this because she made this up. I did not think of this joke. She did. She said it. Oh, so that means that there's going to be this lineup. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're technically right. Anyway, y'all know we said it at least. This Tempo player is from Russia. Which player is from Russia that's on the new Tempo training camp team? Which team is on Russia? From Russia. Yeah, phrasing, indeed. Yeah, man, this is a little saucy stream today. Kind of saucy. A little saucy. Yes, Maria Masha Klundakova. That's right. Good job, Fiercey. Thank you for getting me off the hook there. And 2 more questions, and we'll be done. This Australian won her 3 versus 3 tournament last weekend. This Australian on our team just won a 3 versus 3 tournament in Asia. Christy Wallace. That's right, Fiercey. Christy Wallace. And then the final question for today is this player for the Tempo won a championship with Sandy already. This player won a championship with Sandy Brondello already and is on our team. That's right. Niara. That's right. Niara Sabali. That's right. Good job, Fiercey. You cleaned up today. You're going to get 100 points for every single answer that you got right. And yeah, we'll add it up and I'll put the trivia standings up in the comments after we finish the stream today. So speaking of Australians, like Christy Wallace and Madison Roki, they actually drafted 2 more Australians last night in the draft. They drafted a girl named Saffron Shields, and also the girl from Davidson, what's her name? It's Charlize Dunn. They're both Australian, and so I'm guessing that they may have ties to Sandy already, or they're known quantities to Sandy. Now, once again, these are second and third round picks in the WNBA draft. For me, it's all very new. I'm not sure how that translates into finding a spot and actually making the league and playing. So who knows if Charlize Dunn is going to actually get on the team or have any kind of way of getting there. It could also be, once again, that Monica and Eli are stashing players and getting rights to international players for down the road. So that's what I'm wondering about with Dunn in particular, because she's such a late round pick. Now she went to Davidson, just like Steph Curry, and that's a small school. And I watched her highlights a bit, and it looks like she's got a pretty good shot. And just like a lot of the tempo players we've been collecting, they're hard nosed competitors, and they're gritty. She's a gritty player too. Uh, uh, Done. Now Saffron, she's a little bit more polished. She's a little bit bigger, and she's the kind of player that could actually maybe make our team, possibly, but maybe not. We'll have to see. She's 6'2" and she's only 20 years old. So it could be that Saffron Shields is kind of like a stash, just like Charlize. Charlize is 6'2" also. They're the same size. I was wrong. But yeah, three of the players we drafted, other than Kiki Rice last night, are all 6-footers. And the other pick was from Kentucky, and that's Tiani Key. And she seems interesting. Like she could actually make the team. 6'5", and she's 22 years old, out of North Carolina. So yeah, there's not a lot on these women because there's no Wikipedia pages for them. It's kind of crazy. In the NBA, when you're coming up, you have to have a Wikipedia or a YouTube or something to be able to be scouted and known. But I guess it's just it's symbolic in some ways. It's like we need to elevate the women's game more and get to the point where prospects like Saffron Shields has a Wikipedia page. So we'll just have to see. Kiki's on the team for sure. Kiki Rice is going to make the Toronto Tempo. But for those other three women that got drafted last night, there's no guarantees. And it could very well be some of them are young prospects or international prospects that are being stashed for future years and not necessarily are intended for the plan for this year. So we'll have to see what happens with Saffron and Charlize. Tiani, she could actually come to the team and play this year. It seems like she's got really good length. And I like her mobility from the highlights I saw. The one thing with her is she has no outside shot. She's really got interior kind of stuff. And a lot of her points will be garbage points off offensive rebounds and putbacks. So yeah, that's what I think. I think is going to probably happen with that. But yeah, we can talk more about the draft last night. It was awesome. Yeah, it's like DZ saying, good job to Fiercey on the WNBA trivia. Well, she is our trivia leader this year, and she's not just good at WNBA trivia. She's good at our trivia in general. That's why we call her Fast Fingers Fiercey, because she's quick on the keyboard and she'll get that answer in before you. And that's the thing. In some ways, you could cheat and look up stuff. That's part of this. But if you're taking that time to Google it and look for it, she may be already knowing it and typing it in. And that's the thing about, like, I can't. This is open book trivia, right? I can't stop anybody from Googling anything while we're in the middle of it. So it's really like you got to take that determination. Am I going off my gut and what I know and my knowledge in my head already, or I'm going to rely on the keyboard and typing it in? That may be too late because Fast Fingers has got it. That's right. That may be too late. Yeah. That may be too late. UC was going to guess Charlize Dunn. Yeah. So that's interesting. So now we have 4 Australian players in our group. That's the most out of any. I think USA's got 4 players too, but that's pretty much the most of any country on our team for the most part. And that makes sense with an Australian coach named Brondello, that, she's going to have the pulse on women's basketball in her own home country. And well, that in some ways it's like, do we need a scout for Australia? No, Sandy's keeping tabs over there because she's the coach of the women's national team of the country of Australia. So these are young prospects, Rochi, Shields, and Dunn. And we'll just have to see how they factor into things. Then you got Christy Wallace, the vet, Australian, who's kind of, I think she's more around like Dennis Schroeder's around for Darko, just to have a familiar face and somebody who can help people kind of get to know Sandy if they don't know her and understand her a little bit better, right? I know Niara can do that too, and so can Isabel. So let's see. Seymour saying this. Seymour Pape, good to see you, man. Case and Wallace, I feel bad for you, my boy. Kiki in Toronto is going to be a problem for you, my guy. I'm not going to lie. She is fly. Go Kiki. Go stay away from the hose versus hose. I mean OVO. I mean, is there going to be a picture of the day when Drake meets Kiki Rice? And they're gonna shake hands. Yeah, Kaysen, man. Listen, I wouldn't worry about this. Listen, if she's loyal, if she's a dutiful partner, if she's somebody that is she's got her eyes on the prize. She's not coming up here to mess around with OVO world. No, she's coming here to play as a professional basketball player and kick some major butt. And for Teresa Resch and Monica Wright Rogers and Sandy. That's what she's coming here for. She's not coming up here for the OVO lifestyle and hanging out at Bridal Path with Drake. None of that stuff. No, that's not what this is coming here, man. Yeah, Drake better behave. Drake better stay away. Drake lusting after Jesse Reyes and all that kind of stuff. No, we don't need that energy, Drake. We don't need this energy like this troll that's been coming in here with multiple accounts. We don't need this kind of energy. No, we don't. No, we don't. Yeah, Kaysen Wallace punching the air right now. Laugh out loud. I don't know. How did he look at the draft? Like, how was his reaction when he saw that she was going to Toronto Tempo? How did he look? Seriously, I don't remember. I saw him sitting there. I was like, wait, that looks like Kaysen Wallace. Does she have a family member that looks like Kaysen Wallace? And there's like, no, it is Kaysen Wallace, Lex. They're a boyfriend and girlfriend. Oh, okay. How did he look? Did he look as upset as Chloe? When that's her name, right? CMB's girlfriend, when he got drafted to the Raptors, like did she get a little bit of a look like she did? I mean, I don't even know what's going on with them. It doesn't even seem like they're totally like hanging around each other anymore. Chloe Kitts and Colin Murray-Boyles. Hopefully they're still together, but maybe it's professionally like, you know what, we got to part. You're in another country now, and this is going to be just different and weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. In some ways, that's none of my business. But yeah, Kaysen Wallace, did he look shocked? Did he look like, did he drop an F-bomb? When Kiki Rice was announced at number 6 to Toronto Tempo? I don't know. I don't know what he did. Did anybody see it? Did anybody see that? That's right. That's right. Neil's watching. He's watching us. Look out. Drake better behave. That's right, Fiercey. That's right. Drake, you better behave. You're a part owner. We don't need no scandals. If we have to, we'll get Larry to buy you out. Yeah, Larry will buy you out. Yeah, sorry, Aubrey. We've had a long run. You and me, we're good friends. I like you, man. But nah, you're just not good for the team. You're toxic. But come on, man, Larry. Come on, man. Larry was at the draft last night. Did y'all see that? Larry T, our hero. The great Larry Tannenbaum, sitting in the front row at the draft, sitting next to Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum of the NBA, overseeing the whole draft and seeing what's going on. They kept flashing Larry Tannenbaum, owner of the Tempo, on the screen when they were talking about the Tempo and stuff. A little bit of shade towards Toronto, but not too much in the thing. Rebecca Lobo, the great WNBA legend, has assessed our team as being very shooter heavy. That's what she was saying last night. She said, I looked at the Tempo's roster of who they've collected, and man, they've got some sharpshooters. They've got some sharpshooters. Yeah. There's a ESPN write-up on how the draft went last night. And, well, they gave us a B-. Yeah, they're going to figure out how ways to shade us. I think that they give us a B just because it's Toronto, and they're going to do that. B- for the Toronto Tempo in the draft last night. This is what they're saying. Kiki Rice had her best college season as a senior and played her way into a higher draft slot than expected. She did everything better this season, averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.3 assists, while shooting 38.5% from beyond the arc. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And 90% from the free throw line. She wants the ball in her hands to make the right play in crunch time. Key has potential with her size, but she will need to improve offensively. Shields and Dunn are big shooting guards from Australia. So Tempo coach Sandy Brondello, the longtime Australian national team coach, knows their ability well. Yeah, this is very shallow surface level analysis. But you know what? We'll take it. This is what the ESPN writers have to say about our draft. Yeah, Key has potential with that size, I'm sure. I mean, with those long arms and such. So yeah, B- from ESPN for our team for our drafting yesterday. A B-. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what else y'all are saying in here. I love it, man. This is fun chat so far today. Fun chat. Yeah, let's see. Where am I in the chat? Seymour saying, Lex, we will see them. Man's love to cash out. Okay. I mean, listen, this will be different. Men's leagues in the city of Toronto. Let's see what WNBA team's gonna be like in Toronto, and the lifestyle. And there's different women. They're diverse. They have different personalities. They have different interests. They have different lifestyles. They have different things they like to do. Some of them, there may be a party girl that comes to Toronto at some point and really indulges in the OVO lifestyle and getting out there and having a key to the city and saying, yeah, I'm a Tempo and I'm here downtown and entertainment center section and I'm getting down with everybody in the city because I'm a young 20-year-old and I want to enjoy the big city life and enjoy the scene. Yeah, it's probably going to happen. There's going to be all different kinds of personalities around our team. There's going to be all kinds of different types, I'm sure. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about beginning this journey with y'all. That's right. Fiercely saying her boyfriend and her share the same passion. Drake is a non-factor. Yeah, I like this. Fiercely's being protective of Kiki's relationship already. In some ways, this may be an aspect channel that comes forward with the Tempo being involved, where we may have some soap opera drama sometimes. Days of our lives. These kind of things. They're really going to get soap opera storylines because of relationships between teammates on the Tempo or teammates with people in this community like Drake. No, nobody needs to be going near Drake. Seriously. We need to make this rule right now, Teresa Resch. We need to make this rule right now. Nobody's to talk to Aubrey and get involved with him that's involved in the Tempo. That's right. We need to make this rule right now. This needs to be in the contracts. We can put a little provision in there. Yeah, we need to do this right away. This is important. Seriously, we don't want to get anything in the way of a Toronto Tempo WNBA championship. And the worst thing could be Aubrey's, lifestyle tendencies with his music and what he sings about and who he is. Yeah, we don't need this. We don't need this energy. Drake, ice it out. Ice it out. Okay, ice it out. That's right. Red, I'll say this: blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. If you learn from your past and you live your present, you will anticipate and prepare for the future and not be caught off guard. I like that. He's alluding to the past, the present, and the future. And well, you know what? I learned this recently from one of my spiritual guidance people, Eckhart Tolle. The future doesn't exist. What? That's right. I mean, it's a riddle. The future never comes because it's always just the present. So the future in some ways does not exist. Let's think about this in an existential, kind of deep philosophical way. The future does not exist. The future isn't real. There's only the present. I mean, you can say, yeah, there's been the past because there's stuff that's happened past, but the future does not exist. It's not even a thing. I like what your message is here, though, that if you learn from your past and you live in your present, you'll anticipate and prepare for your future and not be caught off guard. I like it. Blessings to the Phyllis family and all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you be cheesed. You be cheesed. Yeah, man, we got to watch out for this. This is a whole aspect that I should have thought about. First of all, perverts in the chat. First of all, I should have thought about that aspect that could be happening now that we got WNBA going on. Perverts in the chat. And then Aubrey. Yeah, we got to worry about Aubrey, I guess, now again. It's like, Drake, we're not worried about you being on the broadcast with Matt and Jack anymore, but we're worried about your wheelings and dealings behind the scenes around our WNBA franchise. So it's like, man, yeah, we need contract clauses. We need contract clauses right away. Seriously. Seriously. When we're signing them up, we better sign them up. That's right. Seymour's saying, nah, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Everybody has a price. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. All right, you get a dunk for that. I'm sorry. You're getting a dunk for that. That is that is ridiculous and amazing at the same time. 39. That is ridiculous and amazing at the same time. Look at that, man. Everybody has a price. Holy cow. Look where he went. He went with Ted DiBiase there. Holy cow, man. Wild. All right, Fiercey's saying this. Lex, we have a good roster, but their teams are lining up to be very competitive as well. People were slamming the Lynx, but them drafting Miles yesterday now allows Courtney Williams to return to her natural shooting hard position, strategic drafting. Who remember? Okay. I would say this. What we have to understand as inaugural fans of an inaugural team is we're starting from scratch. We're starting from nothing into making something right now. Now, a lot of these other teams, just like the Raptors, have been cooking for a couple years and trying to build nucleuses, connections, and building towards a championship. So realistically, championship or bust kind of people for the Tempo need to chill for a few years because we're going to have to establish ourselves first in the league. And there is going to be an expansion period where it's going to be a little bit difficult to compete at the highest level of the WNBA, but maybe we'll still be a winning team. It's just that we won't be realistically a champion caliber team that could be going for it. So we'll just have to see where it lands. But everybody has to temper their expectations for the Tempo because we're starting from scratch. And we're building something brand new, just the foundation of it. And, some people can get so crazy and unrealistic with basketball expectations, as we've seen with the Raptors. And, don't start it right off with the Tempo. Understand what this is. There's big time teams like the Aces and the Liberty who have players that have been playing together for years and have stuck together, and they are at the top of the league. And we have to build to get to that. We have to start the beginnings of nucleus that will gel and get better and better together as a group, because that's what basketball is a team sport. And especially in the women's game, it's very much important for team chemistry to work for you to be the best success. So that's what we got to understand and remember going into this first season of Toronto Tempo is that we're an expansion team. We're starting out. And, temper your expectations is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah. Seymour saying, remember love and basketball? Okay. This is hilarious, man. This is hilarious. Hilarious, man. All right. Let me see what else you guys are saying here. My bad. I shouldn't stir the pot. It's all good, man. You've got license to do a certain amount of stirring the pot as a longtime RFF. And somebody that I trust to an extent, that you have good intentions and you're not trying to do anything too crazy. So don't worry, man. It's entertaining. It's not hurting nobody. We're good. Fierce is saying this. Watch out for Chicago Sky, Atlanta Dream, New York Liberty, LA Sparks, and possibly Fever. Now, I would say in my eyes, and this is not the most educated WNBA expert eyes in any kind of way, the top teams in the league are the Aces, the Liberty, the Fever, and at this point, it may be the Dream because of Angel coming there and the things that they had already been starting. Like, those are the top 4 teams to me. I mean, Lynx are good too, but it seems like there's been an exodus from their team, and they don't have the firepower that they have. And I've heard Nafisa Collier is going to be hurt for the first half of this year coming up. So the Lynx will be a little bit reeling, even though they were the best team last year. They were the best team last year. So, but the institutions of the Aces and the Liberty are going to be strong every year coming in. The Fever have Caitlin Clark and that whole traveling sideshow of that and their crazy, crazy rabid fan base. And, well, we'll have to see how the Dream look with the addition of Angel Reese and what they're trying to do. All the other teams to me are, under that. Those are the teams to me that are at top. I think the Sky, I don't have any faith in them. There's been exodus from them too. Exodus. People are leaving Seattle, Minnesota, and Chicago. And they're scrambling and remaking the teams. And Seattle Storm is definitely going into a rebuild, is what I'm hearing. So yeah, yeah. Let's see. Don't stir the pot, eye candy. Don't stir the pot. I'm gonna say, but I'm on good behavior this morning. Fiercely saying, I have a feeling CMB and Chloe are done. Her IG doesn't show them at all, and she posted interesting captions to the effect of starting fresh and new beginnings. Yeah, I think that they probably did part because it's just not convenient. It's just not convenient. And I think that that was part of her reaction at the draft that was so sad about him going to Toronto was maybe if he got drafted by the Hornets, they'd be fine, right? Something like that, or Wizards. If he had been drafted to a mid-Atlantic team around South Carolina, they would have been fine probably, but this is different. This is another country. And maybe in her head, it's like, whoa, that's just too much. And maybe Colin's like, I'm going in the NBA. In some ways, I want to like live my life. So, who knows? Whatever it is, it's sad in some ways. And it does seem like they aren't totally together at this point. I mean, Colin's been very busy this season. Very, very busy. Very, very busy this season. Very busy. Yeah. UC saying the future is now. Yeah. The future is coming quick at us, and it's not, going to stop for anybody. In some ways, it's like we got to be ready. And in some ways, we got to try and ride it in a safe way as humanity. But I don't think we will. I don't have any faith in us to be safe with what we're doing and that we're going to do something stupid and we'll actually like do something that really hurts all of mankind forever because of that. And people are trying to run for that. And they're not really thinking about safety or safeguards or regulations or things that will protect society and humanity and human beings in general. Yeah, that's the thing that's scary about the future is that, the love of money will sacrifice us all just for the sake of racing to the top and innovation. Oh, yeah, I'm not looking forward to the changes because I feel like they're going to be stupid, moronic, and we're all going to be like, yeah, we didn't need this. And now this is happening. And now this is happening. And this is no good. And this is actually very scary. And this is actually something that could mean that we're all going to die. It's shit like that that's making me like, yeah, progress, the future. Yeah, let's slow down. Let's slow down. All right. There's probably a good reason to slow down the mushrooming up of data centers and the propagation of AI into our lives. Yeah, there's probably good reasons to slow this down and try and take it a little bit smarter. Yeah. Fiercely saying not to gossip, only on the subject of players sharing passion and dating. If they're private, good for them. Well, we hope good things for Colin Murray-Boyles and Chloe Kitts and whatever is going on, either whether they're together or whatever they're doing. Just blessings and happiness to them. It's not meant like the whole fairy tale of you meet somebody, you fall in love, and it's for happily forever after is really kind of bullshit, honestly. If you're lucky enough to find a partner that will stick with you and not get sick of you at some point and stay with you for decades and decades and decades, that's fantastic. But in some ways, it's not totally natural in some ways. I'm going to say that right now. It's not totally natural because people evolve, people change over time. And that's great if you can evolve with them and you love them and you can go through that journey with them. That's fantastic. But sometimes people change and they're not the right fit for each other. And then that whole trope about happily ever after and all the things we learn from cartoons and movies and TV shows, it goes out the window and it just becomes conditioning. In fact, I don't like people feeling pain in their lives that they're not able to achieve. Such an unrealistic thing in some ways, especially in today's society. It may have been very realistic for our parents and their parents. And, a lot of people in our generation to have a marriage and be together for their whole lives like this, but it's becoming less and less realistic. And it's because of crunching on money. It's very expensive to have children. And it's also very, very difficult just to find the time to carve out in your life to try and meet somebody and try and find the right person and put the energy in the relationship to make it work. So there's a lot of contributing factors. I studied sociology and demography, and these kind of things make me think about this. If you are so lucky to have a spouse or a partner that you've been in with for the rest of your life and you're with them. Thank you. And I'm so happy for you. But honestly, it's harder and harder than ever to find this right now. And it's harder and harder than ever to sustain it. You know, how many people got divorced or split because of COVID or because of Trump? Seriously, there was a lot of that going on in the last 5 years. Seriously, these people had to be stuck together in their house instead of being at work, and they realized how much they didn't like somebody. Yeah. Let's see. Shooting guard, not hard. My bad. I don't even know where you messed that up. I don't know where I read that. Let's keep going. Fiercely saying Love and Basketball is a classic. Yeah, it's a good movie. Fiercely saying Valkyries did very good in their first year, but were eliminated in early playoffs. It's all about building. Yeah. I mean, I'd like for us to make the playoffs also in our first year. And I don't think that that's unrealistic. I think that with Sandy being a competitor and her being a draw, and in some ways, the way we've already set our team up, that we could possibly sneak in and be one of the last seeds in the playoffs and just make the appearance like the Valkyries did last year. I'm okay with that. Of course, we saw the Valkyries draft Flau'jae Johnson and then proceed to trade her to Seattle almost immediately. That was raising a lot of eyebrows. And they were like, whoa, because everybody thought, oh, it's a great fit on the Valkyries, Johnson on the Valkyries like that. But no, they were doing it. They had a plan involved, and they shipped her to Storm shortly after drafting her. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Fiercely saying this. You're right, Lex. Aces were struggling early in the season, but had a phenomenal post all-star run and won the chip. Experience matters. It's the same like the NBA. You got to build a culture. You've got to build a nucleus. You've got to have steady vets that know what they're doing to compete at the highest level in that league so that they know what to win. And there's a few teams that know this already, and they're going to be those kind of teams that are going to be tough for the tempo to beat. You know, the Aces and the Liberty, those are the creme de la creme in my book, as far as they're going to be the teams that have collected assortment of talent that is just top notch. Wilson, Stewart, you know, people like that. Ionescu. Yeah. Gray. Yeah. We're going to be dealing with, top level WNBA players that are established, multiple champions, and they're going to be, the people to beat. That's going to be the Ric Flair. To beat the man, you got to beat the man. To beat the woman, you got to beat the women. And the top women in the league, are people like Aja Wilson. So we're going to have to figure this out. And hopefully, yeah, we can come up in the league quicker than sticking around at the bottom and being bottom dwellers for too long, because that's what we want. We want to compete. We want W's in Toronto. That's right. Experience matters. That's right. All right, let me check on my tabs since it seems like we got down near the end there. Yeah, really happy to see Kia Nurse and the Toronto Tempo jersey this morning and seeing what's going on there. That's very cool. Very, very, very cool. Let me see. What else did I want to talk about here? All right, let's go ahead and check on the breaking news real quick. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, they've officially signed Kia Nurse in the last hour. Canada's team couldn't be complete without one of our own. We've officially signed Kia Nurse. Fantastic stuff. I love that so much. That's really, really awesome. And yeah, here's a graphic from the Toronto Tempo of the 4 draft picks from last night. And that is Kiki Rice, Tiani Key, Saffron Shields, and Charlize Dunn. Yeah, man, I really want to start seeing them on the court and seeing them get to work and just understanding their identity and kind of their basketball fingerprint. I want to get the feel of the team and how it interacts or plays off each other. Let's do the Raptors Redditor of the day. Real quick, Lilith Fair 98. You get the honor today of being the Raptors Redditor of the day. And basically, they have posted a picture of our home crowd in the playoffs at Scotiabank Arena for Toronto Raptors. And their statement is this: let's remind the NBA who has the best home crowd in the league. That's right. That's what we got to do, Raptors freaks and Raptors Nation. We got to get to the game and get loud when we play the Cleveland Cavaliers next week in Toronto in those playoff games. We got to show everybody once again. They are putting tickets out already for Jurassic Park. Of course, they're going to set up Jurassic Park outside in the street. and they'll be selling tickets. So you can go down there and stand outside and watch the game outside the arena, as tradition is set for like over 10 years now. I think we've been doing the Jurassic Park for like 12, almost 15 years. And I was one of the originals out there when we first started it, before they put up any official stuff. Just I was standing out there. There wasn't no need for no ticket because we just stood out there. There was no organization from the team. We were just out there. We're just out there. But yeah, there's your Raptors Redder of the day. Lila Fair, 98. That's right. Let's remind the league who's got the best home crowd in the NBA. That's right. That's right. Kia Nurse is a 3-point threat. Yeah, she's a shooter. She plays like shooting guard, small forward, right? So yeah, she's another shooter on the team. She's a vet. That's another thing that'll help us with her experience. You know, we don't have a lot of years in the WNBA overall with our team. We have young players. We have some foreign players that have only played a couple years in the WNBA, and having a more long-term veteran like Kia Nurse will be helpful, alongside people like Marina Mabrey and Brittany Sykes. They're kind of the three that have the most experience on our team. Maybe Harrison also a little bit there. But yeah, a lot of them are young or international, and they just don't have a lot of WNBA time. So Kia Nurse getting added today is helpful for this. Helpful for this. Lots of minutes and games played in the WNBA and on multiple teams, which is helpful too. Yeah, Kiki Rice. Yeah, she's 22 out of San Francisco, and she went to UCLA, and she is the 6th pick overall in the WNBA draft last night, going to the Toronto Tempo. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot left up on my screen, so maybe we'll start wrapping it up and get done just over an hour. No reason to do a super long stream if we don't have to, especially on a rainy Tuesday like this. Okay, who's that? Yeah, we're going to skip this card. That one's too hard. It's just kind of not the one. Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. This one's fun. All right, classic card of the day. Full name answer, and you will get the classic card. Here we go. This is the player. It's the player in the Heat jersey, not the player in the back. Although if you know both players, that's great. But if you can tell who the classic card of the day is, it's the Miami Heat player, number 3. And that player in the Timberwolves, I don't know, bonus points if you want to name them too. Might as well do some bonus points. But yeah, classic card of the day. Make sure you're live. Hit that live button and identify the classic card of the day with the full name answer. Let's see. Okay, answers are coming in. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah. See now it stopped showing my lines. Okay. Stargate saying Eddie Kind. No, Eddie House. No, Steve Smith's right. It's like DZ got it. It is Steve Smith. Steve Smith, just like the son on American Dad. Steve Smith. Yeah, and the back looks like a Cheetos bag. But yeah, Steve Smith. He was on the second Dream Team, the one that competed in Toronto at the World Cup that helped us get our franchise, the Raptors. Yeah, Steve Smith. So 100 points, like DZ. 100 points for classic card for Steve Smith. Yeah, Smitty. He does like broadcast still, right? He's an NBA broadcaster who comes on and talks about the NBA, right? I've always thought Steve Smith was a pretty good player. He had an all-round game. He was kind of a big guard who could rebound, which was pretty good for his size. Let's see. I missed some comments here. Let me see. Fiercey saying Kia working for TSN was covered by them as an Olympian and now as a Tempo player. Well, it's fantastic stuff because, you know, she's busy. She's going to be covering these playoff games, right? For the Raptors. But is she going to be able to? Because she's going to be so busy with the training camp that we got to start right now. In fact, I'd be like, if I was Teresa and Monica, I'd be calling them and saying, get up here now. Get up here now. We need you in Toronto right away because Sandy wants to practice right now. Because we ain't got no time. We ain't got no time. It is April the 14th. And their first preseason game is like 2 weeks from tomorrow. So it's like they ain't got no time. They got to get this in. And they're coming in. And some of them are just meeting each other for the first time. How the heck are we going to build some chemistry in 2 weeks for games coming up when teams have been together for years and they're like best friends? They know each other like so well. We have to start getting this together. Marina, call up Brittany and get together and start playing and hanging out together and stuff more. Yeah, we need everybody to be on the same page. So get to Toronto right now, ladies. We need you up here. And Kia, just walk out of the TSN studio and go to the Tempo practice, please. That's right. Kaz is here. Good morning, Trucker Kaz. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for participating in the Raptor Freak Fantasy League this year, and your very enthusiastic approach to running your team. That's right. Just a note: we were going to do our WNBA fantasy draft this weekend on Sunday, but because the Raptors are playing on Saturday in their playoff game, we're going to do a reaction stream on Sunday instead, and we'll do the draft the next Sunday. So the draft for our fantasy league is going to actually be a week from this Sunday coming up. So we still have a lot of time before the fantasy draft. And I'm putting it very close to the beginning of the season, but because there's such a shortened off season, there may be some moves still happening and some dust settling with movement and people shifting around with free agency and different stuff like that. So yeah, and plus the Raptors are playing Saturday, so we're going to do the reaction stream on Sunday instead of the draft on that Sunday. And we'll see. I might have to adjust the date again according to the Raptors playoff schedule because I do want to do previews and reactions on the days that they're playing. And there's probably a day we can do the WNBA draft on a day that's in between. And that's probably best. Let's see. Fiercely saying hi to Kaz. Stargate saying, Lex, I have a question. How are folks in the area you live attitudes towards the Raptors and basketball in general? Is it good or is it, I don't like your acronyms. I know that you mean something with the SWS and all this kind of stuff, but I'd rather you just write it out. Just say racist. You don't need to give me these acronyms because I don't know what this is. I don't know what MHGH is. Are you trying to write the other one for down south? Either way, I know what you're asking. I live in a rural area. Yeah. What do you think it is? I mean, you know the answer. I would say this. There are a lot of people out here that love basketball. There's basketball hoops all over the place. And, there's people that I interact with in the community that see me wearing Raptor stuff, and they're for the Raptors. And that's not an issue. Now, most people are nice people out here. They're not going to say ugly things to your face because, if they have something they're secret about it. Most people, if they don't have anything nice to say, they don't say nothing. And that's usually true. But, a lot of people are just like, yeah, I love the Raptors. I'm glad that they won a championship. So I don't really get this energy out here. It's tough if you go to a bar and you want to watch the Raptors and the Leafs are playing at the same time. Yeah, that can be a tough situation. That has happened to me out here before. But in some ways, I don't try and put myself in that situation. So, yeah, the Raptors are liked. They're popular in the most part. Some people don't like basketball just in general, and they do only like hockey. Sure, there's a lot of people out there like that. But, there is a lot of people that do like the Raptors and basketball out here, and they're not like what you think they are. So I would say it's not good to paint a wide brush and that you'd be shocked actually how much support there is for the Raptors out in the rural communities also. You'd be shocked, honestly. You might be very shocked to see. Now, there are going to be obviously, for sure, there's going to be people that are going to be like, yeah, I hate basketball and I don't watch it. For sure. There's a lot of people like that too. But you'd be shocked. Like, I go to my weed store. I guess I'll show like this. This is a weed store I go to called Forest Plant. And my buddy that works there, Jamie, he's a huge Raptors fan. And I'll go in there and he actually watches the show. He watches the show and he's joined our fantasy WNBA league. He's the Smoking Aces, the new team that's in there. But yeah, there's people out here that love basketball. There's people out here that love basketball. I go to grocery store and, I'll see people sometimes rocking Raptor stuff sometimes. So it's not wide brushes. So there's always going to be exceptions. There's always going to be difference. And we shouldn't generalize, I guess, in some ways is what I'd say. Yeah. Let's see. Luke Longley in the back. That's right. It is Luke Longley in the back. And because you said that and without me answering it, I'm going to give you another 50 points, Slug DZ. So we'll give you another 50 points, 150 on the classic card. That was Luke Longley. Australian. That's funny. Yeah. Oh, it's Smithy. Wow, he looks different there. Yeah, Steve Smith. Yeah, it's not a very good picture of him. In some ways, you can't really see his face from far away. But yeah, he was number 3 for Miami Heat at that time. I remember that. Yeah. Stacey Augmon was better, in my opinion, the Plastic Man. I don't know about that. I can go on this talking to you about this. Augmon was better athletically. Augmon had the better hops, although he lost them at some point during his career and he couldn't jump as well anymore. But he was an amazing dunker. Like to me, Augmon was sizzle and Steve Smith was steak. That's the difference right there. Steve Smith was kind of on the level of Magic. Like he had Magic Johnson, Scotty Barnes kind of game all around, rebounding, assists, steals, and a pretty good shooter too. And at his time, Steve Smith was compared to Irvin Johnson as being one of the few guys that's kind of like him in that direction. So I don't know. I can't go with you on this. The better NBA player was Steve Smith. The better college player was Stacey Augmon. The better dunker was Stacey Augmon. The better all-round player was Steve Smith. So that's what I would say there, Seymour, as far as what I remember from what I saw when I was way back there. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying, Lex, sorry to bug you about WNBA fantasy. I really want to play. Yeah, that whole thing yesterday was going on. I was just super busy. I couldn't give you the attention you needed at that time. And I'll try and work with you on this. The thing you got to understand, Fiercey, is I have no idea what email you used the first time. So what you need to do, and this is the best way you can solve this. And they didn't help you with ESPN people, and this is how I figured it out because I had the same problem finding it. You have to go through all of your emails that you've ever used and just put in the one that works. When you find the one that works, even if you don't have the password, you get the one-time code and you'll get access to it then. You can change the password then, but you're not going to be able to switch the email. You're going to have to figure out the original email you signed up with and use it that way. I cannot take the old email off and put the new email on because it will erase your team. It will erase your team history. It will erase everything about you in the league. It will be gone. And you'll be starting a brand new, fresh team. And that's what I don't want to do. So you're going to have to really rack your brain about all the emails you've used in the last few years. And you're just going to have to plug each one in. And when you get one that says, oh, this is not the password, and if you don't remember the password, well, there's a very easy way to say, give me a one-time passcode, and then it'll give you access in there. That's the only way I can tell you how to get in there. I'm not going to be able to get you in there properly with a new email. You're going to have to figure out the original email. That's basically it. And you don't need the password. That's the whole thing. You just need to know what email it was that you used, and you'll be able to get access. So, yeah. Yeah, let's see. Oh, you mean make hockey great again. Okay, see, I don't look at HMHGH and think that. They give us so many of these stupid acronyms, like the one for health down south, MAHA, make America healthy again, and all this stuff. I don't want this world. I don't want to make more spins of this. I don't want to make I don't want to do this acronym because fuck propagating more of Trump's bullshit in any kind of way. So let's just kill it. Let's just kill it. So you mean make hockey great again? Well, hockey's fine. Hockey's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And people can do hockey and do this or that. If they're threatened by basketball and they're fighting against basketball, that's different. But I get what you're saying. I just don't want to propagate this, man. I don't want to propagate this whole acronym shit that they do down south right now and making new ones. Let's see. Seymour saying, Lex, who you taking in a 1-versus-1 tournament? Mo Pete or Terrence Ross? Raptors alumni. This is fun, man. This is fun. See, he's asking crazy questions out of the blue like this. In a one-on-one matchup, Terrence Ross versus Morris Peterson. Wow. Wow, that'd be tough because they're pretty even in some ways. Now, Terrence may be a little faster than Morris, but Morris is stronger. Morris is stronger. And I don't know. What is the MO of a one-on-one game is like, well, can you post this guy? Can you take him down low and beat him down low? Or are you going to have to beat him off the dribble? Like, how would that go down? I mean, it would be a crapshoot in some ways. I think it could be even, this matchup. And it may be just which one of those two guys is making the shot more between the two of them. Because it could go either way, I'll bet. I think that Morris has the size advantage on Ross. And in some ways, that may be utilized as far as I'll back you down and I'll just like beat you up down low. And you'll have to rely on dribbling around me and trying to get around me because I think Peterson's a better defender too than Ross overall. But Ross may be a better 3-point shooter in some ways. It depends on whether Ross is hot. That's the other thing. We know Terrence Ross was a streaky player. And if Ross is not shooting well, Morris will probably win. But if Ross is hot and he can't miss, then maybe Terrence Ross wins that. There's no clear-cut answer to this one because in some ways it has to do with how they're doing that particular moment and day. Because in some ways I see them very even in some ways. So yeah, did that breakdown kind of make sense what I just said as far as things? If he's able to post them up, Morris could win. But if Ross is hot, Human Torch style, yeah, look out. Look out. That's a fantastic question right there. I like that. I like that. Stargate saying Ogben was a better defender. Steve Smith was a poor man's Penny. Very similar games in size. I don't even no, I never thought it was like Penny. He's more muscular in size. Like Penny's so skinny that Penny, because they were contemporaries too. They came in the same time and they were around each other at the same time. The comparison to Steve Smith back in the day was magic, because Steve had those broad shoulders like magic and he had more strength than Penny. Penny was skinny. Penny could get hurt. Penny was, not like Steve Smith. No, not in my memory. Steve Smith was more muscular and more powerful and a little bit more like Magic in that way. That's why the comparison I always think of is Steve Smith is Magic Johnson. Yeah. Yeah. Fiercely saying, thanks, Lex. I'll try again. Yeah, just try all your old emails and you can get in that way. And once you get in once, I mean, I don't even remember my password. Every single time I try and do something on there and it asks for my password, I just get a one-time code again and just come back in that way. You could do that that way. It's not as convenient, but you could probably switch your password once you figure out which email and you'd be able to get in there over and over again easy. And hopefully, your computer has a setting that just remembers the whole thing and just automatically puts it in. So you just go in, right? Right. Yeah. Y'all got burner accounts, email accounts. You know what? I think sometimes people just have multiple email accounts and they don't remember how they signed up on different sites with what email account. I have a Gmail and a Yahoo account, and that's it. I only really have 2 email accounts, but some people have a lot of different accounts for all kinds of different reasons, work, personal, this group, that, all that kind of stuff. Stargate saying, I hear you, Lex. Just like you are passionate about things like the political situation down south and express that passion, I'm passionate about this sort of thing, but hey, I digress. In some ways, I get it. I just don't want to interject this every day. I'm trying not to go political too often on the show. And I've asked you guys, like, let's focus on basketball because there is so much we could talk about politically. There's so much, but I don't want to do this. I want this to be focused on the Raptors and tempo. Social justice is important to me. And the things that you're talking about, I see the same way as you in a lot of respects. But it's also there's a place and a time. And in some ways, just because, I mentioned something about being out here, I don't want to we can talk about this a little bit. I don't mind, but I don't want to make this the general theme of the show every day. I don't want to make it like, okay, we're going to dump on Trump. We're going to talk about Trump for this and this because I hate it. In some ways, the less I can worry about the Make America Great Again crowd and the politics of all that dictatorship bullshit, the happier I am. In some ways, I'm happier just talking about Raptors and basketball and tempo. And when I talk about politics, I get bummed out. And I just don't want to talk about it to a degree. But I know that there's necessary talking about it that we have to do in some ways to stay informed. But also at the same time, I'm kind of like, let's just talk about the tempo today. And we don't have to have perverts in here talking all crazy about Brittany Griner either. That's right. Stargate saying, you're right. Steve Smith is more bulky and Penny was more athletic in some ways, but they are both big point guards. That is true. That is definitely true. And they were both playing for my Florida teams. They had Miami and Orlando kind of locked down. And they were definitely big point guards, taller point guards. I think Penny was like 6'7", and Steve Smith was more like 6'5", 6'6", kind of in his height. I think that's right. I'm not totally sure. Fiercely saying the Vince Carter congratulations clip that Kiki is old is odd. He didn't mention her name and says she's making part of history, blah, blah, blah. It sounds pre-recorded big time. Probably was. Probably was. So he didn't actually say her name. That's interesting. Yeah, that was probably pre-recorded. I found the WNBA draft very interesting. It's nice. It was nicely done. I think the building was nice. It's not the same as the NBA draft, and that's to be expected. But yeah, the way that they hold the jerseys and the jerseys, they have them. They don't have the names of the players on there or anything like that, and they shouldn't because they should know what's happening yet. But you know, jersey number 1 for Dallas Wings, and here you go, Fudd. Here you go. Jersey 26 because it's the 26 year, 2026. You know, it's cool. I'm really happy for Kiki Rice, and I'm happy for the Tempo front office and the work they got done last night. It's fantastic. It's a rite of passage to have your first ever draft like this. It's awesome. It's awesome. Seymour saying Pascal and OG were our duo against Brown and Tatum. Are we more confident in Scotty and Brandon duo? I am. That's an interesting question. Part of like what we've been talking about recently, the whole thing right now, and there's a dumb thing that Stargate posted about from Sid Seixeiro yesterday, questioning whether the Raptors are soft. And yeah, just gaslighting kind of bullshit. The thing I would say to this is I think that people mistake the Raptors for being possibly soft because they're not consistent. This is the thing right now. They're at the point where they're rebuilding up and coming back towards the championship, where they're in a mode where they're talented, they have a lot of potential, but they haven't really controlled themselves correctly to be disciplined so that they can be night in, night out, the top of their level that they're supposed to be. And that's part of the learning process of a young core to become more consistent and understand winning night in, night out takes a certain level of excellence and execution, Bret Hart, and figuring it out so that you can do it consistently. And it's not that they're soft. It's just that there's sometimes lapses in keeping that integrity and discipline, and they look bad. They look bad. Like they can have really bad stagnant parts. But then we can also have games like we did against Orlando a few Sundays ago where we blow them out by 52. So who are the real Raptors? And that's what we got to find out in this playoffs coming up. Are they going to be the inconsistent, like disappearing act that's somewhat like, whoa, what is going on? Stagnant offense? Or can they be at their highest level and play at a very, very high level against the Cavs and beat them? Because that's what they're going to need to do to beat them. And, that's the thing that people get confused. Now, when we had Pascal and OG and Fred and Kyle and people like that, we had more consistency of the level of understanding this is what it takes to win night in, night out. And they were coming and showing up with that consistent kind of level and effort more often. And that's the whole part of the next growing part for the Raptors right now is to get that consistency of knowing night in, night out, this is what it takes to win in this league. And we're going to do it the right way every night. And we're going to try and get the best result we can every night. And, Siakam, OG, they understood this. They went through the same path, and they're just a little further down with understanding what that takes. And that's why they were a good foil for Tatum and Brown back then, because Tatum and Brown, on the flip side, were still learning that journey too. Young Tatum and young Brown, they weren't winning games. They had to go through the same process the Raptors are going through right now in Celtics. So it's just a natural progression for franchises in the NBA to become better. This is the actual process and steps. And casuals and nephews in Raptors Nation and Sid Seixeiro can question and be confusing about it. I know exactly how this is going, and I know what the outcome's going to be. We're going to get better, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to get more polished, and we're going to get more consistent. And it'll be just like what Scotty and Brandon have said after games on the court when they're talking to Danielle Michaud or Kayla Gray, is that we have a higher potential. We're going to evolve. We're going to get even better, and we're just scratching the surface. And part of that is that consistency to play at a high level every night whenever you take the court. And we just have to see that. How serious will they take this series against the Cavs? We'll have to see. It's not in our hands. It's in theirs. And we can have all the expectations and all the wants in the world. It's going to be up to them. It's going to be up to them and how they do it. And well, they're successful. We'll be so happy. We'll cheer them on. If they aren't, well, we're going to take it for what it is and we're going to learn from it and we're going to be better for it in the years to come because of it. And that's the process right there. It's not go get the Larry O'Brien now that we made the playoffs. That's not realistic. It's let's get the taste. Let's see how we perform. Let's see what happens. And then we'll adjust and we'll make it better for the future from it. That's it right there. That's it right there. That is it right there. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I think that Scotty and Brandon are more higher level players than those two guys in some ways. I mean, they're comparable. Scotty to OG, Pascal to Brandon. But there's maybe a higher ceiling of potential with that duo of Barnes and Ingram than Anunoby and Siakam in some ways. I think so. I think that Scotty has way more fleshed out game than OG in some ways, like all around. And I think that Brandon is a little bit more clutch and a little bit more determined in late game situations than Siakam is. But Siakam's gotten better since he's been on the Pacers. So it's tough to compare them in certain ways, but in some ways, it's like also though Siakam has more accolades than Ingram, but also at the same time, Ingram is a little bit more Kobe and dependable in some ways. I don't know. It's tough to figure out. We'll just have to see. I agree that these duo may be better. Seymour saying Mark Jones crying for his last game was a little hilarious. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I ain't got no love for that. I'm sorry. Once again, I'll stand on this. Mark Jones, secretly Canadian. Yeah, with your bullshit. Yeah, you know what did you do? You made up the term LeBronto. Just for that makes me hate you. Just for that. You made up the name LeBronto. You take credit for that. You like say, I made the word LeBronto up. I'm the one who uttered that. You're from Toronto, asshole. And you made up the whole concept of LeBronto. That's your fault. Mark Jones. Well, some of us in Toronto ain't celebrating your retirement. We don't care. Paul Jones, you're cool. We love you. You're the cool Jones brother. But Mark Jones has been secretly Canadian this whole time, and he has not been proud of it. In fact, he's been making up monikers and vernacular like LeBronto against our city. So, yeah. Nah. All right. Good job, Mark Jones. Great career. Fantastic. See ya. That's all I got to say right there. That's right. And Seymour's laughing at you for crying. That's right. Stargate's saying this. It's okay to compliment the young ladies as long as it's not pervy and disrespectful. Like that person earlier with 3 accounts. Oh my gosh. Kiki is a pretty young lady, and it's okay to mention that in taste. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we got to have equal rights, right? So Fiercey and the ladies on here, they can talk about how sexy the Raptors are too, right? We can do that. It's got to go both ways. That's the way I got to look at it right there. I think I remember Adriana sometimes saying lusty things about basketball players. Sometimes maybe a little bit. Oh, they're so cute. I love him and stuff like that. There's been a little bit of that. There's been a little bit of that when I've been around her and stuff like that. She has her favorites, people that she finds attractive. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. In some ways, I'm just going to try not to go near this area in any kind of way. So there's no kind of gray area or weirdness about this. In some ways, I mean, I'm off the cuff. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I'm saying on this channel, this crazy channel. I have to be careful. There's minefields. There's a new kind of minefield that I can step in when I'm covering this team. Let's just put it that way. So Lex may be playing it by the book and maybe be like, yeah, I get what you're saying and you're right, but I'm going to play it safe. And I'm not even going to go anywhere near that kind of stuff. 6'7", 6'7". Why do we do that? That's right. Facts, big facts, Gates, big facts. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, Stargate, complimenting them in a respectful manner. In some ways, we can have quality control for this with Fiercey. Fiercey, you might have to be the commissioner of women's respect. Can we do this? We're going to have a new moniker on this channel. Why do I keep saying moniker today? I don't know why. We're going to have a new title. We have the commissioner of fun, the commissioner of trivia. We're going to have the commissioner of women's respect and making sure that respecting women is held to the highest standards while we cover the WNBA on this channel. And Fiercey is going to be the commissioner of that. Do you mind the new title, Fiercey? In some ways, you will be quality control and you will have the license like a moderator or, an administrator to, call people out when somebody's wrong. Okay? I might need this safeguard, seriously. And you're very much a regular Raptor freak that's most of the time here, so we can do this. We can do this. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying, what I hate is when a man compliments a lady, him always being labeled misogynist. I don't want to do this, man. You're all about controversy, man. Stargate, you just want to draw me into all kinds of conversations right now that I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do this today, man. I want to be light. I want to do trivia. I want to enjoy the draft, and I don't want to talk heavy shit right now. I'm not going to disagree with you in some ways, but there's a balance, man. And there's going to be lines that people will step over that's not right. And we got to be aware of that too. So I don't know what you're trying to do. Are you trying to get license to be able to make comments about the women of the tempo and not get backlash for it? Is this what you're trying to do with saying this stuff? Because look, as long as you're not out of pocket, as long as Commissioner of Women's Respect is not calling you out for it, you should be fine. You should be fine. But if it is something, because I know in some ways I'm not going to be the commissioner of this because I'm not the person that can judge this correctly because I'm not female. So, I think that if Fiercey's not having any problem with something y'all are saying, you should be fine. You should be fine. Y'all been calling her eye candy for Pete's sake. All right, let's see. Let's see. Stargate saying Aaliyah Nye is an attractive lady as well. See, he just wants to go on about how he thinks they're cute. That's fine. You can go ahead and do this. You can Tiger beat this up. You can be all teeny bopper. Oh, they're cute. Oh, that's fine. You want to do that? That's fine. In some ways, I'm not going to go by appearances in assessing the Toronto Tempo because I shouldn't. Because I'm doing basketball analysis. I'm not doing analysis of beauty. I'm not doing a swimsuit, a bikini section. And where can I ask you a question? What would you do to improve the world? I would like world peace. I'm not doing a beauty pageant. No. I'm watching athletes take the court at Coca-Cola Coliseum and watching them on their merits for what they do on the court. But you can do this if you want. You guys know Aaliyah Nye is indigenous. I've said this before. She belongs to a tribe in northern Michigan, and she's an indigenous woman, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. I really think that aspect about her is going to be really good for Teresa and integrating programs across Canada. We do a lot of work out in Western Canada for indigenous groups, and Aaliyah Nye is like a perfect tempo player to be involved. And think about that. She can be a really good role model for indigenous young women for getting into basketball because she's on our team. They could really lean into this aspect of her family, that she is tribal. She's in a tribe that's in Michigan. So, that's the aspect I'd rather talk about with her than just her looks. But you go ahead. You want to do that. You want to do that. I'm not going to get mad at you. But if the Commissioner of Women's Respect has a problem with it, then I'll back her up, just so you know. This is how we'll safeguard this. Okay. Seymour saying secretly Canadian. Yeah, that's a record label. Secretly Canadian is a very impressive indie record label that's been around for a long, long time. But yeah, there's sometimes secretly Canadian people in the United States. People you didn't know were Canadian, but were secretly Canadian. Yeah. Yeah, Mark Jones is a great example of it. Some of them are like, comedians. Some of them are musicians. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you were Canadian. Yeah, Will Arnett. I'm Canadian. Didn't you know I was Canadian? Everybody knows I'm Canadian. I'm Joe from Arrested Development. Oh, you're Canadian, Will Arnett? I didn't know that. Yeah, I am Canadian. It's not secretly. I am Canadian. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are Canadian. And some of them you may not know are Canadian. They're secretly Canadian. That's right. Stargate saying, it has gone both ways, Lex. Okay, hang on. He's all about men's rights. Are you a men's rights activist? Men's rights activist. Come on, man. We're not oppressed. Get over this shit. Come on now. It has gone both ways, Lex. I remember ladies on here lusting after Osha. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. I mean, I get it. You want a license to be kind of like, I don't know what the right word to say is. You want license to be able to extol, to express yourself as far as the aesthetic beauty of the players of the tempo. And in some ways, I'm like, this is the wrong direction. This is not what we should be focusing on. This is in some ways, this is what I'm saying. This could be sensitive. Fiercely could be like, yeah, let's not just denigrate them down to their looks. Like, seriously, I know that's not what you're doing, but I'm just saying when you bring this aspect into this, and it's important for us to talk about this because this is an aspect in women's sports that is a topic. Is like, look, these women don't want to be seen as women. They want to be seen as athletes. They don't care that their gender is women. And in some ways, that's the way I'm looking at it too. In some ways, this is the way I apply a lot of things in my life, like with people and race. It's like I don't look at people specifically for their race when I talk to them or get to know them. It's whoever can be my friend. But race is an issue that matters in society. And it is a thing that is factoring in into certain things for sure. There's like there's two sides to it. And in some ways, we don't want to be playing the wrong side on this kind of stuff. When it comes to the WNBA and women's sports, these are athletes. They don't necessarily have to be female athletes or women athletes. They're just athletes. And we've got to keep a general respect. In some ways, this is an area where we can all learn to be more enlightened and more aware of gender issues to the point where we can be better people because of it. And I think that in some ways, my journey of covering the WNBA that's coming up right now is going to be a journey where Lex improves himself and his ideals and the way he looks at the world to be a little bit more gender equity. I'm looking forward to this because I like to evolve as a human being. I like to become a better person. I like to be more enlightened. I like to learn to have a better stance on things, especially when people are crying out for us to be better in these areas. So I think you're approaching this the wrong way. If you want to get out of jail free card to say that one of the tempo are hot, you go ahead. You can do that, but just at your own risk. Like the person who was just in here earlier talking about wanting Brittany Griner to do sexual things to them. That's a sliding scale, and that's up to you whether you want to get on that scale that's near that person that you could slide towards at some point. I'm not saying you're like them at all. I'm just saying that is the sliding scale towards that, is what I'm saying. But yeah, it's fine. Just you can try it. You can try it, Stargate. Test the limits. In some ways, you're the man who beat the machine. And I have no problem with you testing the limits. Just don't get upset if there's bite back. And I get it. And you're trying to set it up for like, yeah, I want to be able to talk about the traction I have for these women. I'm like, okay. In some ways, it's not totally classy, but you can go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and do it. Let's just put it that way. And they're not here for you to look at like they're at the brass rail or anything like that. They're here to play basketball. UC said this. I've been wondering who made that stupid phrase, so I'm glad he's gone. Yeah, I don't know who made. Oh, yeah, it was Mark Jones. Yeah, he made that up. A man born in Toronto, a Canadian, a secretly Canadian person made up that phrase. That's right. Oh, I'm almost at 2 hours. Let's get done right on time. All right, see, there's another one. This is another account they made. Let's roast. Let's roast. This is funny. I'm gonna make you funny. I mean, you can come in here and annoy me, but yeah, I'm gonna make you funny too. All right, yeah, you really like Brittany Griner. You really, really like Brittany Griner, man. Really, really like it. Uzi Bougie saying, random question. What is everyone's favorite fast food burger or topping selection? Well, I'm gonna do this because I'm straight goods on Canadian goods. The best burger place to me is A&W. You know, Harvey's used to be pretty good. I'm not even going to talk about the American ones. Fuck them. Harvey's used to be pretty good, but Harvey's has shrinkflated themselves into a little tiny ass burger. And in some ways, they've cheaped out and their quality of their ingredients has gotten worse and worse. And Harvey's is just disappointed me more and more as I've gotten older. It's the same with Swiss Chalet, to be honest. A lot of the great iconic Canadian chains have gone downhill more and more as they got more corporate. Let's just put it that way. But A&W, to a degree, is still is a good value. And I don't mind a good matzo burger, even though I'm not supposed to eat them. That is a guilty pleasure that I will partake of sometimes, is getting a matzo burger, a double matzo burger, maybe a double matzo burger with bacon. Ooh-wee. Yeah, so I would say that. We'll keep it Canadian. We'll say that. If we're talking about one of the greatest burgers I've ever had in my entire life, well, that might be at Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack down in Tallahassee on Bruno Street near the Round Holiday Inn. I used to work at Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack, shucking oysters and making these burgers. And they had a big half-pound burger. Woo-wee! It was a big old burger, and it was like kind of a food challenge. And man, that thing was so good. But yeah, Bird had a certain way of doing the meat that made it really tasty. And that's not a chain. That's just a one place restaurant down there. I mean, they did open another one, but it didn't stay. It closed. But Bird's probably has the best independent burger I've ever tasted, and I used to work for them. And but here in Canada, it's A&W. That's what I think right there. There you go. There you go. Bougie bougie. Interesting. Bringing levity, a little bit of lightness to the chat here. I like that. Stop phrasing. Let's see. Seymour saying, I'm a Harvey's guy, and give me the works on my burger. Jerk chicken burger comes second. That sounds good. Is it a burger if it's chicken in it, though? Like, do you call it a burger if it's a chicken meat in the middle of it? It's like a chicken sandwich then, right? Chicken burger. That's interesting. Fiercely saying this, Raptors players could be my sons and nephews. Erg. I don't mind quality control, but the Raptor Freak family is pretty good and respectful. No pervs or creeps in here, or else I'll be gone. You're a new sheriff. You've been deputized. We got Sheriff Seymour Pape, who's the sheriff of the channel. And then we've got Fiercy, who's now a sheriff of decency. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, she's not looking at the Raptors players because she's like, they're too young for me. This is crazy. This is maybe something we need to learn, Stargate. Because we're old and we should not be looking at 20-year-old girls, is what basically what Fiercy's saying here. And in some ways, it's like, yeah, Fiercy could lust after Oshai Abaji, but then realize the age gap is like, that's not right, or something like that. I don't know. We need to consider this too. Fiercy's got a good point here. That's right. That's right. Harvey's. You like not from Harvey's. The chicken burger, not from Harvey's. Okay. UC Sam Mark made an awesome season turn into a season hard to forget for the wrong reasons. Yeah, it's just dumb because it's become like a chaunting word towards Raptors Nation from our haters. And we're going to hear it in the next week. We're going to hear it because we're playing Cleveland. And Cleveland fans will just come in and just drop that word in social media spaces just to rub it in. It's like, oh, well, you know what? LeBronto. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. LeBron James is very close to retiring. He has not played for your team for almost 10 years. And okay, you want to live in the past? Well, we'll just see how things go in this series. Y'all are counting on James Harden to help you. Okay, good luck with that. Let's just see how that goes. That's right. Seymour saying, if I made the league, my celebration would be the ravishing Rick Rude. This is awesome. Well, he's going to do these wrestling drops here where he's bringing up wrestlers. He's going to get dunks. Seymour, man, you're on fire. You're at the old Jakob 42 now. You got Jakob's original number 42 at this point. Yeah, you're going to do the whole like this. You're going to make a basket and then do this on the court like this, man. Man, if Fiercy's at the game, she's going to have to put shackles on you for breaking the decency rules. Oh, he's out there. Look at Seymour. He just dunked it on them, and now he's doing the Rick Rude. Look out, all you sweat hogs. That's right. All of your women are lusting after Seymour Pape, the city slicker, because he's doing his ravishing Rick Rude moves out there. Look out. Fiercy comes out with the handcuffs. Takes him immediately. He's still up here like this, and she's putting them on him up here while he's got him up there. And he's like, yep, no, you got to go to decency jail. Decency jail. Yep, that's too much. This is a family-friendly environment, Seymour Pape. What are you doing gyrating your hips like Elvis Presley? Look out. Look out. The women are screaming. Let's start getting saying, oh, is Aaliyah native? Cool. Yeah, she's native. She's indigenous. And her tribe is from Michigan. So she's not far from her beginnings. I mean, we just jump over Sarnia and we're right over where she's from. She's like over on that side of the border right there at Sarnia, right? That's where she's from. She's from northern Michigan. So that works real good right there, right? Right. All right, let me see. This is a fun light stream today so far. Seymour or Val Venus. There you go. Val Venus. Now, he's one we don't, even though he's Canadian, secretly Canadian, Val Venus, secretly Canadian. But he's a crazy conspiracy theory, and he's a MAGA kind of guy, too. His politics are all messed up, man. Like, don't listen to Sean Morley. No, nobody should be listening to Sean Morley, aka Val Venus from Peterborough. He's from Peterborough. Seriously, he's from Peterborough. Yeah, nobody should be listening to him. Any of it, anything that he thinks. Nothing on wrestling, nothing politically. Just let Sean Morley go away and don't bring him up ever again. Him and his weird porn star wrestling motif from back in the day, Val Venus. Yeah, yeah. Nobody needs to be listening to him. Nobody. That's right. Y'all are laughing. That's a good sign. Uji Bougie saying for fast food, I'm a cheapo. BK Whopper, Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, or a Dave's QP Burger, bacon, a little extra ketchup and onion. But I love when Harvey's had the cucumbers and tzatziki sauce. Man, this is some American change right there. Sorry, I'm not doing it. I can't. I used to have an endorsement deal with Burger King. My fantasy team was the team Burger King, and I used to eat Burger King for good luck every week so that I'd help my fantasy football team. I know that's so crazy and goofy. I mean, there was a job I worked here in Toronto, and I was delivering supplies to condos and apartment buildings in Scarborough. And I learned where all the locations of the Burger Kings were in the east side of Toronto. And I would time my route to always eat at a Burger King that day. And I was broke because I'd wrecked the truck my work, and I owed the company some money for messing the truck up. So I started eating the Burger King dollar deals every day. Save money. So every day from Monday through Friday, I would eat that dollar meal, very disciplined at a Burger King restaurant. I do it every day, and it was very cheap. And I was eating very cheap, but it's partly for me to be able to pay for the damage I did to my truck. And but on Fridays was Fish Fridays, and I hated the fish, so I always treated myself on Fridays and was able to go get something else at another restaurant on Fridays. But Monday through Thursday, for like a year, while I was doing this route, I would always have to stop at lunch at a Burger King over on the east side of Toronto. Like, you know, there's one on Ellesmere, there's one over kind of near little, like, it's like little Afghanistan, or what is that part of Scarborough where it's like everything, I think it's all like Middle Eastern, like the whole community and all the restaurants. But there's actually a Burger King at that intersection there. There was one kind of over near Warden Station that I used to eat at too. Yeah, I'm remember all where the Burger Kings were. Yeah. I don't know. That story's interesting to y'all. Lex wrecks his truck, so he has to eat dollar menu Burger King every day at work to try and make up the difference. That was back when I was married. That was a long time ago. I was married when that was going on too. So yeah. Yeah, Smooth saying the US can have Mark Jones, man. Yeah, you come back to Toronto, you hang out over on the west side, over where you and Paul Jones used to run around as little kids, and you see how people feel, Mark Jones, bringing up that name and making that name famous. That's right. Cool Cat saying, good day, Raptor Free Crew. Good day to you, Cool Cat. I hope you're having a fantastic morning. Only good things for Lisa. We just want the best things for you. The best things for you. That's what we want, Cool Cat. That's right. Fiercely saying this, going out of your way to post stupid stuff under numerous accounts on a Tuesday morning is quite telling. Either a kid, hope not, or a loser. It could be a former regular on our channel that just doesn't have anything better to do, and they have a sad life of following of horrible leaders that have told them to hate people, and now they're just crazy and they're just acting out. Who knows who it is? It could be a 7-year-old kid. Who knows? Who knows who it is? It could be a really dumb kid. Who knows? Uji Bougie saying, homemade, I'm a sirloin chuck with sauteed onions, smoked cheddar bacon, and apple butter, whiskey, barbecue sauce. Why are you doing this to me? Uji Bougie's going to make me have to eat lunch immediately after this. Immediately after this. I got a new little barbecue just recently, and I'm really excited. I'm going to have the ability to cook stuff outside this summer, and I haven't had a barbecue out here yet. I also got like a fire pit recently too. Yeah, my dad doesn't know this. He's listening. He's finding this out for the first time here. I bought a fire pit that's a little one that I can put out in the yard, so we can put fires out in the yard now, Dad. Just so you know. And I got a little mini barbecue too, so that we can cook in it too. So yeah, there's a couple things I've acquired just recently, And I'm gonna call my dad after the stream. I got to talk to him. There's a couple things we got to talk about. Let's see. Seymour saying this. You got to watch the clip with Mark Jones and Doris Burke. It's hilarious. Maybe I will watch that. Maybe I will. Doris Burke's involved. Whoa! Don't get me started on her. Yeah, that's right. Y'all gonna be talking about young WNBA players. Let me start talking about Doris Burke. Yeah, that's more age appropriate for Lex. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying it is different ways to compliment a woman, but not to lose at her body. I think this is true too. I mean, seriously, women are so objectified for physical appearance that if you really want to get somewhere with them, compliment them on their intellect, compliment them on some sort of aspect that isn't tied to gender, or maybe something that's like could be a compliment for a man also. You know, that's what I would say. I like what Trevor's saying here. He's a voice of reason. Trevor knows. Trevor deals with a lot of ladies, whether it's his wife, whether it's clients. And Trevor knows. Trevor knows women. He probably knows women better than most of us men, just because he knows how to finesse and finagle, finesse the hair, and finesse the personalities too. I'm sure he knows how to finesse a tough customer when he has to do his work that he does. Yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's very charming when he has to be too. I'll bet you Trevor is. That's right. Hi, Cool Cat. And Cool Cat's saying, welcome Kiki Rice to Toronto Tempo. Happy to have you join us. Yeah, this is cool. Kiki seems very astute and wise beyond her years and a real leader. She seems like a true leader, which will be interesting. I want to see how this leadership structure comes about with the Tempo. Who's going to be kind of the leader? I mean, Alamon, Marina, Brittany, Kiki. There's going to be different voices, and obviously Sandy Brondello as the head coach. So we're just going to have to see how the leadership structure of the Tempo kind of falls together, how it happens. How it happens. That's right. Seymour saying 007, that burger sounds proper, man. Yeah, Uji Bougie, I don't know. Maybe Uji Bougie is a foodie injecting a food conversation into the chat. I'm not against it. It's fun. Scotty would enjoy it. Scotty always used to love having Twitch food conversations when we'd be on Twitch with him. Scotty be always asking these kind of questions like Uji Bougie. What would be your favorite burger? Y'all, what is your favorite burger? Scotty Barnes be asking us. And we be like typing it in. What's y'all's favorite burger? What do y'all like to eat for breakfast? Scotty would ask us stuff like that. It's like, what do y'all like to eat for breakfast? Oh, what kind of chips y'all like? Yeah, what's your favorite chips? Yeah, yeah. He'd be asking these questions. It was interesting to Scott. And Scott always loved talking food. Like, seriously, he would be talking crazy questions like Uji Bougie all the time on the channel, on his Twitch channel when he used to be in there regularly and we were hanging out with him all the time in that summer after his rookie year. Yeah, Scotty Barnes, Twitch family 2022. Always and forever. That's right. That's like 4 summers ago coming up now. Since we spent so much time with Scott, so many hours with Scotty and learning young Scotty and who he was and his personality. This is why, in some ways, I'm an expert on the Raptors because we put in that time with Scotty Barnes on Twitch. And really, I was there when Scotty got left on Friday the 13th Island by his friends and the boat left the dock. I was there live with him and I felt that pain when Lloyd and them left him behind on the dock. And he went, no, you left me. That shit was so funny. That's a classic Scotty Barnes Twitch moment when he was playing Friday the 13th with his friends on Twitch and they left him on the dock. That was wrong, man. They shouldn't have done that to Scotty, man. They shouldn't have done that, man. Uji Bougie saying this. Also, good morning, beautiful freaks. Hope that everyone slept through that crazy thunderstorm that woke me up this morning here in West Gray. I thought the rain's been fantastic. It really came down. Really came down. And I've got a lake in my yard right now. I'm calling it my own personal lake. It's supposed to be a pond. I actually dug a little pond in my yard on purpose to have a little water feature. But man, I guess that pond is holding way more water because that is a lake right across the yard. And I'm a little worried about it. Also, we chopped a tree down, and that would normally be soaking up a lot of the water through its roots, but it's not there anymore. And now the water's standing on the yard. So I'm gonna have to figure out my drainage and irrigation. I need to get Justin on this, honestly. Justin, I'm gonna need you to do some damn work. I mean that. I'm not cussing. I need you to do some damn work. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that rain's good to sleep to. I'll say that. Yeah, Fiercey likes Harvey's too. Man, Harvey's just gone downhill. If I'm given a Canadian burger championship, I'm gonna give it to A&W right now. Just for me personally. There's some specialty burger places in Kensington Market that I remember from back in the day. I don't know if they're still there. Top Gun Burgers, that's on Augusta. That place had some pretty cool specialty burgers downtown in Kensington Market. If you go to Top Gun, yeah, that place was pretty good. I'm trying to think if there's any kind of like more like kind of they're not chain, but they're like, they're burger places that are known downtown. Oh, of course, Burger Priest. The Burger Priest. That is a great company. They have multiple locations around Toronto, and they make their burgers very fresh in the restaurant. If you go to the Burger Priest, that is an amazing burger place. That place has a special secret menu, and they have crazy stuff on their menu. Crazy stuff. So yeah, I would recommend the Burger Priest. If you guys know the Burger Priest, definitely go there. That is a good burger experience right there. Yeah, you guys could try that one. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, I'm not looking for me to for me to get no get out of jail card, sir. There's a reason why I'm saying this, and it has nothing to do with me. All right, and I don't want to cause conflict or anything. My views are very progressive. My views are very equality. I understand there's a lot of people out there that like the balance of the sexes to be more traditional. Men have this role and women have this role. I don't believe in that stuff. I'm not in that world. And this may be a place where we're not in the same place. And that's fine. I'm not going to tell you to believe what I believe, but I believe women are equal to us. I believe that women can do everything we can do, and that we get programmed so young to not think that it's wrong. And in some ways we should stop thinking that way. And I'm not saying you think that way. I'm not putting any of this on you, Stargate. It's just in some ways I want to come about this in the right way, because we are going to be dealing with gender roles way more, covering the WNBA on this channel. And I want to come at it from a progressive stance, and a stance that's informed by my educational background in sociology and the studies I've done in the past. So, either way, I mean, look, there is an overcorrection, sure. In politically correct world, there is an overcorrection that is going too far, for sure. But there's also the initial reasons why women have asked for more respect and to stop being judged on their looks. There's a reason for this, because in some ways, there's been many jobs, promotions, and all kinds of things that were judged on this, and not because of how good they were at their jobs. So I can see why women in general are kind of like, stop judging us for our bodies, our looks, our faces, and start judging us for our personalities and who we are, and in those kind of ways. I don't know. In some ways, once again, you're really controversial today, Stargate. You want to bring up politics, you want to bring up gender roles, you want to bring up attraction towards our WNBA players. We'll just go with it. We'll just see where we get to. That's what I'll say here. Smooth saying he's from Canada, but he's no Canadian. Yeah. Well, he's born here. He's Paul Jones's brother. But yeah, in some ways, he's spent the majority of his life in the United States. He's American also, and he's kind of shunned his Canadian side of his thing. I mean, he still comes through here. I'm sure he comes to the Jones family reunions, and he's around the Jones family that's in Canada, and he comes through when the Kings had to play here, because he was a Kings broadcaster, but in some ways he's very Americanized. And, it'd be interesting to sit down and talk to Mark Jones about his feelings about like Canada and US, maybe 51st state, maybe those kind of issues and the things that have been in politics in the world right now. It'd be interesting to hear what Mark Jones would have to say. And I would be worried that he'd be a turncoat and he'd have some really crazy views. And I'd be like, yeah, you're not really a Canadian anymore. Just like Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's not Canadian anymore, guys. We just need to understand this. Wayne Gretzky is too Americanized as a Canadian person, and he's been lost. He is no longer a Canadian legend. He is no longer somebody that we should look up to. He's no longer officially, to me, a real Canadian. He's a sellout. He's a traitor, and he can fuck off. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. There's a couple other guys that came from Canada and have really just gone straight up American. Michael J. Fox is another one that disappoints me. In some ways, Michael J. Fox, he's going to always be known as being Canadian, but honestly, he's more American now. He's honestly way more American now. There's a few of these kind of guys that are around like that. Gretzky's an ultimate traitor. Fuck you, Wayne Gretzky. I'll say that. You just ruined your whole entire legacy and career because of your proximity to idiot in chief, the dictator pedophile. Yeah. Let's keep going. Kareem's saying Mary Brown's has a great chicken burger. Oh, Mary Brown's. Yeah, that's chicken there. That's right. That's a chicken burger. That's right. Let's go tempo. That's right. Let's go tempo. Let's go and watch them for basketball. That's what I'm trying to say. Stargate, I don't want to make this any kind of weird thing in some ways. Uji Bougie saying best random burger I had was Dave's Street Fries in KW. I don't know what KW is. Is that Key West? That could be all kinds of different places. Kitchener Waterloo? Is that Kitchener Waterloo? Is that Key West? I don't know what that means. We don't do acronyms very well here. Newfie Fries and homemade burger half pound and in Hanover, closest fast food burger joints. I generally go get A&W, teen, or matzo. Okay. Man, this is really on your mind. This man's in a burger world. Burger time. You guys remember that game? That was fun. You run over the different parts of the burger with the little chef hats guy and the salt and pepper shaker are chasing you up and down the stairs. You got run over the bun and then the burger and the cheese and all that stuff. Burger time. Yeah, it's burger time on the Rapid Freak channel today. Burger time. That's right. Kareem saying Cavs fans overlooking Toronto because of the Harden effect, but their coach looks worried after finding out they're playing us. Yeah, Kenny gets this. The players do too. The fans are going to be delusional. Cavs fans are kind of idiots. I'm not going to lie. They really are. And they're kind of really, really crazy. I don't know how well we're going to do. It's hard to say because we haven't played them since November, but we did sweep them. So there is a basis of saying, well, most of your team, we kicked their ass 3 times this year, and y'all didn't beat us. And from what I remember this year, Scotty Barnes pretty much took Evan Mobley's lunch as far as beating his butt the times we played them. And I even remembered Jakob outplaying Jared Allen this year too. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. Harden definitely is the X factor because he's the new addition. But there's also people like Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis who've come to that team since we played them too. And the other person that is an add-on that we have to keep into factor is Max Strus, because Max Strus was hurt at the beginning of the season, and we didn't really see him this year. So there are a few weapons that they have now, and they switched out guys like Karis LeVert, who's gone, and they have new guys that we haven't really seen on their team yet. We'll have to see. I think that for me personally, the way it goes is whether Harden is for real or not. It really is he is the X factor. But on the flip side, the way it goes is whether Ingram is for real or not, too. Those are the 2 big, huge X factors, the 2 big, huge names on both sides. And the team that wins will be whichever one of those 2 players plays better. I'm going to bet this right now, that if Brandon Ingram can play like he did against Miami last week, against the Cavs, we can win this series. We need him to be that top-level, unstoppable offensive force that he was last week. And if he can do that consistently, well, we can win the series. That absolutely is necessary for us to win it. If that's not the case, we might lose. Now, the other thing is Harden needs to be the same kind of force on the other side for them to win. If Harden is a dud, if Harden is able to be tied up by the Raptors defense in certain ways, they could be in trouble because he's ineffective. In fact, there could be a scheme that Darko and the coaches are working on this week is a kind of a red herring. It's basically like, we know Harden's proclivities. We know what he likes to try and do, but we know where he's ineffective and inefficient when he tries to do there. And we could set a trap. The Raptors and Darko could actually say, we want James to do this because when he does this, the Cavs on the down low are not efficient. We could have him, we can set the trap and say, we'll lay it out for him. We'll let him have it. We'll say, here you go, James. You get this all day. because we know from doing the analytics and looking at it and thinking about it, this actually hurts the Cavs on the down low in a weird way. That's a strategy that Darko and them could figure out with James Harden because there is an inefficiency to his game. And he's such a high level player that has to demand the ball so much that you could actually game him against them if you do this right. And Donovan's the same way in some ways. Like Mitchell and Harden are very similar in some ways for being high usage, low efficiency players in certain ways. Then if you can really play up the low efficiency part of Mitchell and Harden, this is a key to win against them. In some ways, you want to give them the bait. Yeah, here you go, James. Take this casual three. Well, if he's making it, y'all better get up on him. But it may be smart to let James play lazy in certain ways and lay off of him, and he's just ineffective because he's missing a lot. The same thing for Mitchell, too. But if they're dialed in and they're making them, you got to get up on them and guard them real close. So this is actually a game plan I was thinking about because I am doing a lot of thinking about this series and trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen. And one of the things I thought about is we could actually use Donovan and James against them if we do this right. And we may actually see exactly what I just described in some of the games coming up in this series. And they'll be like, holy shit, Lex is right. We actually are using their best two offensive players against them. And it's working, and we're actually getting the wins because of it. So yeah, watch for that. Watch for that. I was trying to figure this out. It's like, well, what's something about their weaknesses? They're inefficient. They're high usage, inefficient offensive players. So what do? You get them to be used a lot and at an inefficient rate. And that actually hurts the Cavs on the down low and messes them up. Yeah, this is a game plan I'm thinking about right here. Yeah, this is a game plan I'm thinking about right here. That's right. That's right. Uji Bougie saying we got the PC principal now. Arresting for Rick Rude, Napoleon Dynamite dancing. I'll be doing disco all in the chat all day. No, it's not. It's not. You know, we are PC on this channel. I consider myself a very woke left person. Like I am very much for progress. I'm very much for equality. And I'm very much for as you grow older, you can amend your beliefs and your ideas to the changing times. I'm not this person that holds this is how it is and it's always going to be this way. So the tendency on this channel is to be very progressive. You know, I'm left of left in some way. I'm left of like the liberal party. I'm not even like considering myself liberal. I'm more NDP and I'm even more like going towards like true left where like I'll go towards anarchy, you know? So in some ways this is natural. And you know, it's not that I'm trying to cancel anybody. It's just that I want to be sensitive to you know, I'm going to be covering the WNBA and I'm going to be putting tempo streams up. There's going to be new audience coming in here. There's going to be people coming in here that would not normally watch the Raptor Freak stream because they want to watch tempo content. And I have to be sensitive to the new eyes that may be on me. And I don't want to come off as like some misogynist, like man that's like, you know, not really looking at women the correct way. So I want to handle this right because in some ways we have an opportunity here on this channel to grow our family and to grow with a new infusion of tempo fans and tempo nation waking up and starting out. So I don't want to turn anybody off. In some ways, I want to be very progressive and very understanding of these gender issues and cover this the correct way. And that's why in some ways, like I want to be very careful about not mansplaining. I want to be very careful about like not talking about things that I am not an expert on and like talking over people that may be more of an expert on it. Like, you know, Cool Cat and Fiercey and Trevor and other people have watched the WNBA more than me. And in some ways, I'm going to cede to them their expertise on certain subjects and players because I don't know better than them. So I have to be really careful. There's a lot of minefield kind of things I could step on it and blow up and be like, you're an idiot, Lex. Why did you say that? You could piss off all kinds of people if I don't treat this right. And we can have fun and joke about, you know, some of the things we're talking about with Stargate and this idiot coming in with the Brittany Griner comments that are going on right now, you know, but we want to have the right level of professionalism and the way we look at this overall on the channel so that we're not devolving into like a weird kind of channel that's kind of like not right and it's toxic. Does that make sense? That's kind of why I want that role. And I feel like Fiercey is the perfect person for it. First of all, because she's almost always here. Second, she is very much involved in women's sports with her daughter and understands all kinds of aspects and perspectives in that world and what they real world deal with, And then, third, as a female, she can tell what is gross and what isn't and what should be the line. That's kind of where I'm at with this. I can't judge this because in some ways I'm a guy and I've been a perv and a weirdo in the past and like a jerk and a misogynist. I was a very misogynist person when I was younger because was raised in the South and there's a lot of gender roles that I was conditioned to learn by the society I lived in that were absolute bullshit and I've had to unlearn in my middle age. So that's kind of how I look at it right there. Yeah. Yes, Fiercely saying, by the way, Lex, the ESPN customer care rep who assisted me with my WNBA fantasy issue said he watched the stream. Oh, that's cool. Well, who knows? Maybe they watched for 5 seconds, like, oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. What is this channel? Who knows? Either way, welcome to anybody new who's come to check out my channel today. And I really am going to go heavy on tempo content. So if you're a tempo fan and you're just coming here for the first time, and you can stand me, well, welcome. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you'll be enjoying the ride with us as we start this new franchise. It's gonna be a lot of fun. That's awesome. They're gonna check it out. Trevor's saying women do not like lyrics, they like confidence. Women do not like lyrics. What is that? Lyrics? What you mean, like trying to spit game or just cheesy pickup lines? Is that what you mean when you say lyrics? Let's see. Fiercely saying Kelly Olynyk's also a foodie. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, he is. He really is. Uji Bougie saying, I am a foodie. I love ball all day, but my other passions are music and food and my personal life. I collect guitars and I love making a nice friend family meal as a way to connect. That's awesome, man. Uji Bougie, that's awesome. So you like guitars? I'll bet you've got some cool guitars. You have some acoustic guitars and some electric guitars. I wonder what kind of guitars you got. Yeah, I like music a lot too. I don't really play music. I listen to it, and I was a DJ on the radio for a long, long time, and so I know a lot about the history of music, and I do know a lot about like music in general. But that's cool. That's cool. I have friends down south that are really good guitarists, and they owned a lot of guitars, and I would be around a lot of people playing guitar in the past when I was younger, for sure. For sure. Stargate saying Johnny Burgers at Victoria Park and Shepherd. Okay. That's your recommendation for a good burger? Johnny Burgers, Vic Park and Shepherd. Okay. Okay. Neil saying, I just hope the tempo tickets are reasonable because I have many daughters that I gotta buy tickets for when I go. Yeah, I met your daughter at 905 game. One of your daughters. Yeah, I don't think they are right now, though. Adriana and I kind of scouted out trying to get tickets for the preseason game in a couple of weeks, and it's ridiculous already. They're all resale, they're all sold out. So there's people that have bought the tickets and they're trying to flip them to get a profit. And it's annoying. It's annoying because I think it's a preseason game, first of all, and I get that. But like, I think the cheapest we were seeing like is around 250 for one ticket, and that's in not a good seat. It's like in the up in the top part of the arena. It's not a huge arena, so there's not really bad seats, but you're definitely not near courtside or anything. You're probably up near the very top, and you're paying like almost $300 for the resale ticket. That's what we saw, and that's for the preseason game. That's not even for the first a regular season game, which I'm sure is even more expensive. So yeah, we'll have to see. Those prices are going to fluctuate in the beginning. The novelty of the tempo is going to be very driving them up, and then at some point they'll come back down to earth in the right place where they should be, and that may be when I actually show up, because in some ways I've spent so much money this year on Raptors tickets. I need to chill out. I went to a lot of games this year, and I spent some money on Raptors tickets this year. So in some ways, I gotta chill out and pick and choose when I'm going to get to the tempo game for the first time. I was going to try and go at the end of this month, but I don't think it's realistic. And I think I'm going to have to wait until like in the middle of the season and things calm down a little bit. That's when I'll probably go. Yeah, Stargate saying, see, Trevor knows. Well, see, Trevor knows these are his clients. And he needs to know because he's got to have his business, right? These are his clients. That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying, I know Mark Jones worked for TSN beforehand, but that was a very long time ago. I don't remember that. I don't remember him ever working for TSN. He went straight to the States out of broadcast school almost. He may have worked for TSN in like what, 89? Like something crazy, like way back then in the very beginning, because he was on ESPN in the States in like 90, 91. He used to host the NBA Tonight, which was was a show. There was a half hour at the end of every NBA night, and he was just basically doing all the highlight reels from all the NBA games. That show was really good, and I liked Mark Jones from that. But I didn't know he was Canadian at that time. He didn't broadcast it. He didn't let anybody know it. He was just a dude named Mark Jones who was on NBA TV in the States and on ESPN right from the start in the 90s. He's not like Paul Jones. Paul Jones has been up here. Mark Jones went to the States immediately, and he's been down in the States this whole time. But I remember that show he used to do. It was awesome. It was one of the best NBA broadcasts they ever made in the history of the NBA, because it was the format is the right kind of format. We need this kind of show back. I get it, Adam Silver. The league is a highlight league, as you've said it, and you can watch the highlights on the internet now. But there's something to a TV show on cable that's a half-hour NBA highlight reel show with the bloopers and the dunks that we used to watch. NBA fan action is fantastic. Those kind of shows, they used to be good. And remember old Saturday morning inside stuff with Ahmad Rashad and Willow Bay? Yeah. In summer. Yeah. Those shows were good too. What happened to Inside Stuff on the mornings, on Saturday mornings with Saturday morning cartoons and Ahmad Rashad? Yeah. Those were good NBA programming shows. The NBA Tonight with Mark Jones and Inside the NBA and Inside Stuff. Yeah, that's a while back, man. Uji Bougie saying, yeah, Kitchen Waterloo. My bad. I'm an Ontario boy. It's all good. It's all good. I thought Key West first. I'm a Florida boy. KW is Key West. Key West. It's crazy. But I'm glad you elaborated. Reggie's saying, I stopped eating beef years back, but I do remember Johnny's. So he's been to Johnny's, Johnny Burger. Interesting. Uji Bougie saying, I agree 100% for Cavs. Their second line is handsy and can hit shots. We've done okay against Harden, but in combo with Donovan Mitchell and Allen, if we can slow the perimeter, clog the paint, we have a great chance to steal momentum and work in this to the second round. Yeah, we need to have Ingram outplay Harden. That would be great. Brandon, you could take it personally and say, look, I'm going to beat James Harden myself in this series. If you can do that, if you can say, look, I'm looking across in the beard, and the beard is my counterpart on the other team. I want to beat him by outscoring him every single game we play against him. That's tougher than just said, right? I know. But Brandon, you can do this. You're capable of this. And it'll take some help from Jacoby and Jamal and other people tying up Harden a bit. But if we can slow him down and you can outscore him, that's great. That's one of the aspects for winning this. The other battle that's going to be very important is the big man battle down low with Yak and Scotty against Allen and Mobley. That these guys are going to have to outplay those two guys. So, Scotty, just like what I just said about Brandon with James Harden, you need to do the same thing to Evan Mobley. You need to outscore Evan Mobley. You need to out-rebound him. You need to get more blocks than him. You need to get more assists, which you will for sure. But I'm just saying, if you want to look at how you're going to win this, you got to beat your counterpart. And Jakob, you got to outplay Jared Allen. You got to be a better big man than him. You've got to stop him. You've got to out-rebound him. You've got to try and outscore him. And all the way down the line, we got to do this. Emmanuel, you want Mitchell? You get Mitchell. You got to play better than Mitchell. I know you're a little hurt. And this may be tough. This may be tough to do. But can you play better than Donovan Mitchell? If you can't, then we'll let RJ try and play better than Donovan Mitchell. I'm just saying, this is the kind of mentality and the things we need to think about this week. Sure, there's team specs and aspects and sets and what we're going to do. But individually, start thinking this way this week, Raptors. It's a team sport, and y'all are a team, and you're together. But think about who's your counterpart on the other side and how you can defeat them by defeating them individually in some ways. You outscore James Harden, Brandon Ingram, you're going to help the Raptors win. That's what I'll say right now. That's it right there. Stargate saying smooth. Me too. I don't eat meat, red meat or pork either. I eat poultry and fish, though. Those are good, healthy choices in some ways. Man, I'm really a carnivore at this point. In some ways, I've been getting closer to maybe abandoning some of this stuff. I mean, Adriana is a good influence on me. She doesn't eat pork or red meat herself. She's like you guys. And in some ways, I start to eat more of that stuff just because of her sometimes, but I still like a good steak. I still like my red meat. And in some ways, I don't know. In some ways, I should probably start moving in the direction of you guys. I know that's part of like the whole Easter thing when I said I had that mini ham and you guys are not eating any pork or beef. I mean, I respect that. I respect that. And in some ways, that's a healthy choice. That's a healthy choice. Trevor's saying this Perkins says teams who will not live up to expectations in the playoffs, Spurs and Nuggets. Ooh, that's what Kendrick Perkins is saying, not Sam Perkins, right? Or Perkins, the restaurant that has burgers down in the States. Perkins, Kendrick. I'm gonna guess Kendrick, and he circled back on Bill Simmons, which is awesome. And he said, write the check to a charity for inner city youth of our choice, Scotty Barnes and I. And Scotty's jumped in on it too, saying, "Yeah, Bill Simmons, you said this crap at the beginning of the year about the Raptors not being top 6 in anything. Well, you're wrong. And well, you can write your check to the United Way of this and this." You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about the Spurs, but maybe the Nuggets. The Nuggets are weird, man. They've had Nikola was hurt in the middle of the year, and they had really good excellence despite. I don't totally trust their coach. I feel like the Nuggets have had help from the refs. I don't know. If I'm going to go with either one of those teams, of course, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm not going to believe what they're saying about the Spurs. But the evidence that would lead credence to what Kendrick Perkins is saying about the Spurs is their youth, is the fact that a lot of their team is very young and has no playoff experience, and they may actually fail because of that. They may actually fail because of that. The Nuggets are just not the same Nuggets as when they won the championship, and they shouldn't be expected to go all the way. They just shouldn't. They had a lot of injuries this year. I don't know. Maybe he may be wrong on both of these, honestly. He may be wrong on both of these. I think there's a lot of other teams that are in the playoffs that are more likely to fail out than the Spurs and the Nuggets, like the Rockets. I could say the Rockets may be in trouble without Fred. All those playing teams are kind of garbage. As far as the Clippers, the Warriors, they obviously these teams are probably going to be going out. The Timberwolves are interesting. We'll have to see whether they are for real or not. We'll have to see if they're for real or not. Fiercey's giving me my cutoff. W Stream fam, enjoy your burgers. It's almost lunchtime. Yeah, I know. I even have burgers? I have a steak. I could fry that steak up and put it in a bun and have a steak burger. Yeah, I'll just eat a whole steak. It's like a big steak too, so it's gonna be outside of the bun. And yeah, I'll eat that. That'll be my burger. It's just because of burgers, man. Stargate saying I actually like the place in the plaza just next door to Johnny's. It's called Esquire. Great souvlaki. All right, we really gone foodie today. This is the Uji Bougie effect. Trevor's saying, so who's gonna play the honky tonk man? You want the honky tonk man? Hey, honky tonk man, Jimmy Hart. Wayne Ferris. Wayne Ferris. Yeah, the honky tonk man's a weird one, man. Everybody hates him. Eric Bischoff said the happiest moment in my career, I think ever, was firing the honky tonk man from WCW. He says that. He's like, one of the best moments I ever had in my life was I had to fire the honky tonk man from WCW, and it was so fun because he hated him. He hated him. Yeah, he's an abrasive person, Wayne. He's an abrasive person. Of course, he's still in the circuit with all the old wrestlers signing the autographs at the conventions and stuff. But yeah, he's an acquired taste. In some ways, he's a lot. Let's just say that he's a lot person. He's a lot. Yeah. So we're saying this. Yeah, I have to recalibrate how I view the tempo. You're gonna have to recalibrate it because you got new players coming in because Kia Nurse is there. That's why. I know it is. Reggie's saying, "Oh, I gotta recalibrate how I see the tempo." Kiki Rice, Kiki and Kia, Juicy and Kitty and Nina and Maria and Masha and Slim and Cash Money Mabry. That's right. Uji Bougie saying, our man Hero and Souvlaki. I miss the Greek food in Kitchener Waterloo so much. Best I can get is a shawarma within a half an hour drive from West Gray. I agree with respect and appreciation for all. Progressive is good. The far end of it scares me when we end up in a world where everyone can be judged for their alignment more so than what they say. Yeah, that scares me too. Yeah, that's the danger that we're slipping into because we don't want a singularity of thought where everybody's supposed to think exactly the same. And if you go out of that line, you're getting in trouble somehow. There's some people that want to create that world going forward. And that's why the ideals of democracy with freedom of speech, freedom to protest, freedom to speak are very important. That's part of the reason why, even though there's overtures that this is something we should be more worried about with data centers and data mining and surveillance states, I'm saying, look, let me be the test. I'm going to say whatever I want to say here. And if there gets a point in the years to come in coming where we're in trouble just because we're expressing our opinions, well, in some ways, that world is not a world I totally want to live in anyway. And I will fight against that. This may be the fight where I get involved is the freedom of speech, because that's what this channel is. And if there's any butting up into that kind of area of totalitarian dictatorship, well, uh, I don't want that world to happen. And I think that there's enough people like you and I that value the right to have differences of opinion. That's what I'm saying. Like in some ways, it's like, look, we can have differences of opinion, but if you have an opinion that does not look at the humanity of the people that we're talking about, whether they're people of color, whether they're immigrants, whether they're trans, whether they're women, whether they're children, whether they're old people, whether they're disabled people, whatever group, that's the problem. Is like, look, you can't say it's freedom of speech when it's hate speech and it's against certain people and you see people as subhuman and not as equality. There's different levels to this for sure. And I'm not saying you think any of that, obviously, because you seem like a very awesome person who loves burgers. So yeah, it's a weird thing, and I think this is something I'm very much on the same stance with you. Is that we got to allow for differences of opinion, but there's also a certain level of responsibility with you that you kind of like you can't be like this though, because in some ways your whole mentality has an idea that this person shouldn't even exist in this world, and that's messed up. That's where that's where freedom of speech gets into areas where it's kind of like that's not speech freedom, that's hate speech. And in some ways that hate speech in some ways should not be condoned, and that should not propagate, and that should not be part of society's views, because there is a lot of people that are saying we want freedom of speech, but it's really we want freedom to be racist, we want freedom to be hateful towards gay people, we want freedom to be able to discriminate against immigrants and whoever we want, that kind of stuff. Uji Bougie saying love and respect are what the world needs in droves. Yes, yes, and understanding, honestly, and understanding across differences, for sure. Nothing but appreciation for this channel and the community, which is well versed and great opinions I've seen so far. We're not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. I know that. And people can judge me. I have my foibles. I'm crazy. I talk to a beaver puppet that I act like is my son. And some of you say, "Oh, you do that maybe because you don't have a son." Yeah. Well, I will be honest about this. I'm sad that I don't have kids, but I've also grown to the point where I've accepted it and I'm okay with it. And I'm actually really happy with the hand that I've been dealt. And that, if I don't have children, I can play the best side of that too. But yeah, I think that sometimes when I have the beaver puppet on my show, it's a little bit of me poking fun at myself. For one of the saddest things about my life is that I thought I would have kids, but I didn't. So I bring up a Justin Bieber doll puppet, and it's kind of a joke. And in some ways, it's me making fun of myself for that hurt. It's not serious in any kind of way, and in some ways, it's part of me. Like, I guess maybe it's therapeutic. It's so goofy, man. It's so goofy. But either way, I know somebody made a comment about me and the puppet, and that I have psychological problems because I'm acting like the puppet is my son. But I want to be very clear. This is very much by design. And in some ways, the parody of it is a part of me parodying myself and also making light of something that is traumatic and sad for me, but also at the same time, I have a very good grip on it to be able to make fun of it. So that's my official thing on that. Like I was saying, 250, hell no, that's over 1,000 for me per trip. I need a discount. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Those season packages are sold out. I don't know how we're gonna do this, Neil. You're gonna have to figure this out. You might have to tell your ladies that they got to pay their own way. Equality, right? Uji Buji saying, lately I've been into collecting the older 60s Japanese models and 80s Korean, as they have wonderful wood quality and pickups that are generally being copied nowadays. Never went expensive. Cool. He's talking a little bit about the guitars he's collecting. Smooth saying, yep, Lex, Mark did a few Blue Jays games in 1989. Oh, that's cool. I don't remember it because I wasn't here. I was in the States at that period of time, and I didn't see Mark Jones till he got down there. So that makes sense that I wouldn't have seen him on Canadian TV because I was living in Florida. That makes total sense. Total sense. He was a stand-in guy, then he went to ESPN. He made it quick in ESPN. I mean, he was a fresh face, and he really fit in with the early ESPN crew, like with all those very iconic ESPN people. But he was kind of a junior guy in the whole company, and he really was a fresh face of the NBA and being like a hip young face for the NBA because he had really good delivery and he was fun, man. Like I said, in those highlight shows that he used to do, that NBA Tonight show was really high level. And it was fun, man, because it was the kind of show that you could watch at the end of an NBA night and you would see everything that was important from the NBA night. It's really lacking in today's world right now. We need this again. And maybe it's not administered through cable. It's still like a little 20-minute show on like YouTube or something that the NBA puts out at the end of the night. They could do this. They could do this, but they don't. They don't do this. That old format's really good. The one that Mark Jones used to be in. Let's see. Nuggets in a 12-game win streak right now. They've won 12 games in a row. Wow. Wow. Well, someone's got to give at some point, right? Trevor's saying chicken and fish, no red meat for me. I never had red meat or pork meat. Never in your life. Never. I know a lot of this is some of it's religious, some of it's cultural, some of it's just background. No, I get it. I mean, that's definitely something part in the Muslim faith is no pork, right? No pork at all. That's right. That's right. All right, we got to the end of the chat. I should really get out of here. I said I was going to do 2 hours. Now we're almost at 3. We did the classic card like an hour ago. It's hilarious. All right, y'all. Congratulations to Toronto Tempo on their first ever draft, drafting Kiki Rice of the UCLA Bruins champion. She seems like a great, fine, upstanding young woman who's ready to come in and add to the great talent on the Toronto Tempo for Sandy Brondello. Also, congratulations to the other 3 women who got drafted: Tiani Key, Saffron Shields, and Charlize Dunn. Congratulations to them. Also, very, very happy to hear the official signing of Kia Nurse to the Toronto Tempo last night and today. This is so great to have Canadian content on the Canadian WNBA team. So, yeah, Kia, you're awesome. And I'm looking forward. I knew you would be on this team. We knew you were going to be there. We knew it. We knew Kia Nurse was going to be a Tempo for sure. That's right. All right. Good game. Good game. Take care, y'all. Thank you, UC. I hope you have a fantastic day and going to the WNBA Toronto Tempo at the Bell Center later this year. It's going to be fantastic. All right. I'm out, y'all. Thanks for watching the Rapid Freak stream. Let's go Tempo. Great job at the draft. And I'll be back tomorrow for a Wow Wednesday. We'll see what I'm wowing about. And I'll add up the trivia scores and I'll put in the standings in the comments shortly after the stream ends. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's go Toronto Tempo.